Scott Minto is with us here on Talksport 2 ahead of Flamengo against Chelsea at the Club World Cup. Scott, we've already seen a big shock today in the competition. PSG beaten by Botafogo. Nobody saw that coming. But in terms of the games that you and I have seen, have you been impressed by the standard for the most part? It doesn't always feel like the highest profile setting in terms of the crowd and some of the delays, and it doesn't quite feel as smooth as some tournaments, but the football's been good.
Do you know what? I think the football's been really good. I've been impressed. Obviously, the first game that we did was PSG Atletico. I thought PSG were absolutely outstanding, and I said after that, whoever beats PSG is going to win this competition. They were that good. And then what happens in the very next game? You know, Botafogo go on and beat them. And actually, I think from a tournament point of view, that's exactly what FIFA needed, and in a way we all needed. Look, you know, from a European point of view, obviously I'd like to see a European side win it. Well, first and foremost, I want Chelsea to win it. If not City, then a European side. But from a tournament point of view, what we don't need is get to the quarter-final and, you know, the 6 of the 8 teams are European, and then all 4 teams in the semi-final are European. We want to see this kind of Europe against, you know, South America. And of course, we did the game as well, Al Hilal, didn't we, against Real Madrid, where Al Hilal fully deserved their draw. And we'll have to wait and see whether they can keep that up and maybe even get into the quarterfinals themselves, which I think would be a really good thing. But look, from what I've seen so far, and obviously Messi scored a great goal. It's not a tournament, is it, unless Messi has scored a great goal. And can he take, you know, his side into Miami even further down into the knockout stages? We'll have to wait and see. Look, in terms of the fans, it's not been great, but the game we did, the Chelsea one, first of all, in the States, it was Monday, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And in a way, what do you expect? Then what you should have done was kids for £1 or, you know, £5 to get in. Just try and get as many people in as possible. 25,000 or 22,000 in the 75,000 capacity seater stadium isn't really good enough. But the bottom line is the football, I think, has been pretty decent. We've already had a few surprise results, shall we say, and don't disrespect them and say shock results, and I think it's only going to get better. So, do you know what, Joe? I'm really looking forward to what we're seeing. Obviously, Chelsea, we want to see them to go on and win today, so they can pretty much be 1 foot in the round of 16. But at this moment in time, I said PSG after game 1, they're going to go and win it, and any team that beats them will win the tournament. Well, does that mean Botafogo are going to win it?
Unlikely, you would think. But for Chelsea, of course, the real opportunity to seal the place in the round of 16 today. Remember, Chelsea will do that if they win, and they end up as group winners if they win, and Tunis, who are Chelsea's final opponents, don't beat LAFC. The winners of the group should avoid Bayern Munich in the next round, which of course is important. For Liam Delap up front, how key is it, Scott, this game, this opportunity for him today? How much emphasis do you think Enzo Maresca is putting on the Club World Cup in terms of who takes that leading role? And it's obviously going to be between him and Nicholas Jackson. So for those two, are these games even more vital? Yeah, and look, every time they go on the pitch and wearing that or playing up front as that number 9, I think it's crucial for both. You know, they need to make sure Nicholas Jackson hasn't had any competition pretty much since he's come to the club. You know, Christopher Nkunku is not a number 9. He's been out for almost a year in his first season, and the second season I thought was really poor, to be honest with you, and I'd be surprised if he's a Chelsea player come the end of this transfer window. But he needs, you know, as good as he can be, and he can be very, very good. He can drop short, he can have defenders hanging off him, he can, as we saw with the assist of the first goal the other night, he was very, very good, almost Harry Kane-like. But if he's not playing well, or even more importantly, if he's injured, Chelsea needs someone else to step in. And Liam Delap, look, you know, we're hearing rumours that he wanted sort of guaranteed first-team starts. I don't think anyone can guarantee a first-team start, but Enzo Maresca knows him so well, of course, from his time at the Manchester City Academy, where he scored well over 20 goals. So he knows not just the talent, but he also knows the person. And I think that's very, very important indeed. And if Chelsea are to get forward, not just in this tournament, but it's going to be very hard. Don't forget, Chelsea didn't just have the youngest Premier League squads this season by 18 months per person, starting 11. They also had the youngest Premier League starting 11 ever.
And that's very difficult when you haven't got that experience. Talent, of course, is one thing. Youth, exuberance, energy is one thing. But you also need those senior pros there. And that's where I want Chelsea to come in and just make a few more signings on that front.
A kick-off just a few moments away in Philadelphia. 27, 28 degrees. And indeed, the temperature is going to get even higher by the end of the day. 39 degrees peak heat in this part of Philadelphia. It is tough for every team. Enzo Maresca has, of course, said that Flamengo are understandably going to be more used to these kind of temperatures. But what we are seeing, I think, Scott Minto, is perhaps a little window into where we will be at come the World Cup in 2026. And it'll be fascinating to see how England, of course, from our perspective, can cope with that. Is this an early sighter into the kind of style of football that we're going to have to see?
I think Thomas Tuchel knows exactly what he wants to do, and who are we to tell him what to do? But he knows you can't be playing. I know he wants to have the sort of the English style of aggressiveness and get forward and play with high intensity, and at times you have to do that. PSG in the first game that we did against Atletico, they were pressing as well, and on many occasions, but at other times they just couldn't. They had to sit back. So there's no doubt about it. If you're playing 7 games in 29, 30 days, if you're going to win a tournament, you need to be pretty much fresh even by the time you get to the final. That's not an easy thing to do. So rest, recuperation, very, very important. You need to be able to be mentally in the right place as well and able to switch off. And I think that's why at this moment in time, he's picking people like Jordan Henderson, who I think would be really good around the camp. If there's any negativity, that negativity doesn't fester. So I think that's really, really important as well. But yeah, look, this is going to be I think even particularly for this tournament, but mostly for next year. There's going to be players who've been playing non-stop for 2 years. That's going to be so tough for these players to really go on and say, right, okay, now show that why you're the best players in the world and go on in the world, win the World Cup. What I would say is it's not going to be only for the England players. It's going to be for a lot of players for other countries as well. But from a fan's point of view, and I'm a fan now as well, I want to see players do things that I haven't seen, and not that I haven't seen, but I haven't been able to do myself, and show why they're the best players in the world. And yeah, that's the difficult thing to do. It really is. But there's no doubt about it in terms of preparation, Joe. I think this is very important for players and managers to understand how the conditions will be next year. Cole
Palmer, of course, is going to be one of Chelsea's key players. We know there's absolutely no question of that. Outstanding at the back end of last season in terms of assists. We have not had a great deal from Cole Palmer in 2025 in terms of scoring goals, Scott. He did miss that big opportunity, didn't he, in the first game against LAFC in the second half, that rising drive that was over the top. Are we in the media guilty of putting too much pressure on Cole Palmer at times? Is he already achieving what is actually very good anyway?
He's allowed, Joe. He's allowed to miss a few chances for sure. And look, I think I think everybody loves Cole Palmer, don't they? I mean, look, he did go through a very barren run just after Christmas and heading towards the end of the season, but he turned the Europa Conference League final on its head. I mean, really, it was the first difficult game that Chelsea played in that competition. And they were 1-0 down, and Betis were playing really, really well, and they needed someone to stand up. And that's where the top class players, do it. And first of all, you have to be technically good enough to be able to do something like that. But second of all, you also have to have the mental strength to be able to say, look, I'm going to grab this game by the scruff of the neck because this game is going badly wrong right now. So I need to make sure that we end up celebrating by the end of the game and not, commiserating, and all the criticism that would have come at them if they hadn't have won that competition. Let's not forget it was Europe's third-tier competition. And some of the teams, and I don't want to name them because it would just sound disrespectful, but Chelsea shouldn't be in a competition where some of those teams are in. So once you get to the final, we knew it would be tough. Real Betis are a good side, and we knew they'd be up for it. It was their first European final ever. But at the same time, it was a game that Chelsea needed to win. But Cole Palmer stepped up in that second half. 2 bits of magic, and you could see all the wind going out of the Betis players, and there was only one winner after that.
Where do Chelsea rank in terms of this competition, Scott? I mean, We saw PSG beaten early today by Botafogo. Manchester City are there. Real Madrid are there. Bayern Munich are involved. Where do Chelsea rank in terms of the front runners for a competition like this, in your opinion?
I think they're probably almost the sort of second tier. You talk about the first tier of the PSG, the Man Cities, maybe the Real Madrids, but actually I think Real Madrid are struggling physically in this particular competition, like they have for the last 6 months as well. But like with any team, they can get better and better as it goes on, and they've got youth. So hopefully they won't be as tired. I don't think they was as taxed as many of other players in other teams in terms of the combination of the Premier League and the Europa Conference League, whereas others have played, certainly, Manchester City, although obviously they were knocked out of the Premier League and Champions League. But there are other teams that have done that. PSG, will they tire towards the end? But then Luis Enrique actually managed his players really, really well. I think it was only Ousmane Dembele that started more than 24 league matches. So you can see why they were fresh. Yeah, but what I would say is I think they're in the sort of second tier of those. But I think a lot of teams will be looking at that Botafogo results and saying, well, look, if they can lose, it wasn't as if they put out a complete second 11. They didn't. I counted only really 4 changes, plus Ousmane Dembele, who wasn't there for the first game as well, who didn't start. So, yeah, that's, you just never know. They're one of a group of teams that I think can win it, but do I think they will win it? Well, my heart says yes, my head says no.
Well, a reminder of the Chelsea side for you. Sanchez is in goal. James, Chalobah and Colwill are the central defenders, with Gusto and Cucurella in the midfield, in the wing-back positions. Enzo Fernandez and Moises Caicedo are the holding players in midfield. Cole Palmer, Pedro Neto and Liam Delap are the Chelsea front three. They have a packed bench, of course, Chelsea, as you would expect in Philadelphia. For Flamengo, the goalkeeper is Rossi, Wesley Franca, Danilo, Leo Pereira and Ayrton Lucas are the back four. Gerson, Jorginho and Eric Pulgar are the three in the middle, with Plata, De Arrascaeta and Araujo the front three. It is 0-0 in the early stages in Philadelphia. Flamengo 0, Chelsea 0. You are listening to Talksport 2. Scott Minto is with us, a former Chelsea defender. Enzo Maresca, of course, leading Chelsea successfully to the Champions League last season, and of course winning the Europa Conference League. How high are expectations going into next season, Scott? And do Chelsea's achievements here in this competition over the course of the summer affect the goodwill that he goes into next season with from the fan base? Because you know all about what the Chelsea fans are thinking.
Yeah, look, Chelsea fans have had a lot happen to them over the last few years. From Roman Abramovich, where it was all about the here and now, buying senior players. What I don't want is Chelsea to go down the route of sacking managers. Now, people will say to me, well, that's what Abramovich did. But what he did do, he gave those managers world-class players with a world-class bench. So, so even if things weren't going well, it's like, well, you have no excuses. You've got these array of senior pros that are in their peak, that are earning great deals of money, and I've put my hand in my pocket to bring them all over here. And so you've got to do it. And if you don't, then you're gone. Well, the new regime are completely different. It's all about the future, not the here and now, kicking the can down the road. We're spending this money. We're putting these players on 7 and 8 year contracts. Very clever from an accountancy point of view, but actually from a football point of view, at what point are Chelsea actually going to want to win the big trophies? Great that they won the Europa Conference, and I was delighted to be there and celebrate with it, and I certainly did that. But at the same time, Chelsea Football Club should not be in the Europa Conference League. So, yeah, absolutely. I want to see them sort of having this competition. This will not help going forward for the Premier League and the Champions League combination. So I think Enzo Maresca might have some problems, because there are still a lot of players, actually, a lot of fans who are not having it at the moment.
Scott Minto with us on Talksport 2, and Flamengo with an early attack down the right-hand side. Gerson looks for the overlapping run, and the cross is drilled into the near post by de Arrascaeta, and it's gathered by the Chelsea goalkeeper Robert Sanchez. It is a lovely, bright and sunny day in Philadelphia, quite in contrast to the scenes in Orlando, where the match between Benfica and Auckland City, the amateur club, is still delayed. Chelsea all in white today. They're playing from right to left, and they're in possession now with Colwill on the edge of his own penalty area. Flamengo, by the way, in their traditional colours of the dark red and black striped shirts, black shorts and dark red and black hooped socks. We have a packed schedule of Club World Cup for you, as Chelsea are going to be penalised here. Moises Caicedo has been yellow carded for a bad challenge out on the far side, and the referee raced across emphatically. Ivan Barton of El Salvador, and Moises Caicedo yellow carded straight away for that mistimed challenge. 11 minutes into the game on Talksport 2. It is Flamengo 0, Chelsea 0, and Caicedo with a typically robust late challenge on Jorginho, who of course knows Chelsea very well indeed.
Well, from one current Chelsea holding midfield player to a former one. He does this so often. He's probably been Chelsea's best player. Well, he has been Chelsea's best player in the season just gone, and yet there's still some times where he puts himself under a lot of pressure with those type of tackles, and now he's got 80 minutes left on a yellow card. He doesn't need to do it in the middle of midfield against a player with the greatest of respect, Joe. Me and you could beat in the sprint.
Jorginho never the quickest, but
maybe you
reads the game very well. Flamengo 0, Chelsea 0, and still the referee has just put his cards back in his pocket. He's pointing towards the penalty area. The captain Gerson, I think, wanted further punishment. Lots of Chelsea blue shirts on show here in Philadelphia. This was the stadium, in fact, the Lincoln Financial Field, where Manchester City got their campaign underway. Win against Wydad Casablanca, and City in action tomorrow morning against Al Ain on Talksport at the Club World Cup. Monday early morning. Monday at 2 o'clock in the morning. That'll be on Talksport. Chelsea's final Club World Cup group game next Wednesday, live on Talksport as well. Free kick high to the back post for Flamengo. Hacked away on the half volley by Reece James, the captain, up towards halfway, and Pedro Neto's got away from the defender Wesley Franca, and he's racing clear on goal, right down the middle, and he tucks it away. 2-2 at the Club World Cup for Pedro Neto. He is red hot here in Philadelphia, and Flamengo don't know what's hit them. He seized upon the error from the defender, right down the middle, drew the goalkeeper, an erring finish, and 13 minutes in, it is Flamengo 0, Chelsea 1.
Well, it's a sign of a top class player. My goodness, suddenly 1 minute, we're giving away a foul, yellow cards, free kick into the box. What's going to happen? And then you go down the other end. I mean, it's really poor defending. Two of the Flamengo defenders trying to pass it between themselves. Sometimes you just try and be too clever. Don't allow someone like Pedro Neto to somehow get hold of the ball, and then suddenly you've got space from the halfway line. No one's catching him. His composure is absolutely brilliant, because he carried on running with the ball. Defenders coming from the other side, and just the little touch, or the moment where he has to have that final touch, he has to shoot. He just sets himself, puts the ball one way, the goalkeeper goes the other. A really poor defensive error from Flamengo, but brilliantly capitalised by Pedro Neto.
2-2, and his finishing prowess. Lovely goal against LAFC on match day 1 in Atlanta. And show again here. Quarter of an hour gone, and Chelsea take control, and they have the lead 1-0 against Flamengo. And have it with the right back Wesley Franca, and the ball is hoisted downfield up to the halfway line. They're a good footballing side, Flamengo, and they've only suffered 3 defeats in the 46 games prior to today that the former Chelsea player Felipe Luis has taken charge of. Luis Araujo can't keep the ball in play on the far side, the left, and that's a Chelsea throw in the right back position, just like you, Scott. Felipe Luis, a left back.
Yeah, but I didn't become a manager. He's a madman.
Yeah, probably a good idea. It is
he's doing really well, though, isn't he?
World. He is doing very well.
He's doing really well. They're top of the Brazilian league, and
won the treble last season.
Yeah, 46 games in, they've only lost 3. They've won 32 of them. Certainly taken it like a duck to water. I'm sure I would have.
A good hold-up play by Liam Delap on the halfway line. He was turning towards the Flamengo half and fouled by the defender, Leo Pereira.
Just brilliant forward play. Just brilliant forward play. Strong. He's got the defender right up against him. He holds him off. Great first touch. Turns it. Defender, in the end, gives away a foul.
Here go Flamengo raiding down the right with Gonzalo Plata. His cross into the near post is gathered by Rob Sanchez right in front of a mass of Chelsea fans behind the goal to the right-hand side. And Chelsea are 1-0 up. Reverse ball by Palmer down the middle is intercepted by Leo Pereira. Now Jorginho won the Champions League when he was at Chelsea. Poking the ball back to the halfway line, Wesley Franke. And Jorginho again looks for Gerson, but he's robbed of possession very quickly by Enzo Fernandez. Early ball up the middle, has too much on it. Thumbs up from Delap, but wasn't a great pass over the top. We continue our coverage of the Under-21 Euros tomorrow on the network. England against Spain in the quarter-finals. That is live over on Talksport at 8 o'clock, and the network will be the home of the Women's Euros this summer. Every Lionesses game live across the network as England look to retain their title. Best way to be across everything, download our free app. Easy to download. You can swipe between all our stations as and when you'd like to. And you can watch live shows on the app as well. Had our first Premier League commentaries of next season confirmed too. Liverpool, Bournemouth, Villa, Newcastle and Leeds against Everton on the opening weekend. So the football really will not stop. Foul by Enzo Fernandez on his opposite number 8, Gerson, in the middle of the Chelsea half, and it's a free kick to Flamengo. Chelsea have the lead. They can virtually seal their spot in the round of 16 with a victory. They would confirm it and as group winners if ES Tunis failed to beat LAFC later. Out on the right for Flamengo is Wesley Franke. Back to the halfway line, and Danilo, former Manchester City player, won 2 Premier League titles. Jorginho, high ball floated over the top, and it's through to Sanchez again. Sweltering conditions here, Scott, and there's not a speck of shade anywhere on the pitch here at the Lincoln Financial Field. It is tough for the players out there, and I mean, just how tough is it for Chelsea compared to their opponents, who will be a lot more used to conditions like this, you'd think?
Yeah, no, it's a fair point. And Enzo Maresca made that point pre-match as well, didn't they? And they will be more used to it. But again, what are you going to do? Be clever, pass the ball. You're feeling a bit tired, just pass it. You've got a bit of energy, run with it. Pedro Neto didn't look too tired, did he, running from the halfway line?
It was a terrific sprint and very composed finish. And that's the goal that has Chelsea into the lead. And good noise all around the stadium here on the south side of the city, and it's coming from the Flamengo supporters, who actually, in fairness to them, do outnumber the Chelsea fans by some margin. Fans of the Brazilian club, who are top of their league table domestically, Flamengo, and they were in a brilliant position coming into the Club World Cup again in the league under Felipe Luis, who's got an almost perfect record, as we were saying. Colwell to Cucurella, left back position for Chelsea. How have they set up in terms of formation, Scott Minto, so far, leading by a goal today?
Yeah, you know, as we said before, it's very, very fluid. You know, Marc Cucurella tries to push on when he can, but actually at times it's like a 4-2-2-2. So you've got the 4 at the back, with Cucurella and Malo Gusto being the full-backs. You've got Moises Caicedo and Reece James. Enzo Fernandez and Cole Palmer a little bit further up, almost like 2 10s, and then Delap and Neto can play as a 2. But then at other times it is like a 4-2-3-1, as we're saying, with Neto and Palmer out wide and Enzo Fernandez just pushing on a bit further than Caicedo and James. It just depends where the ball is that everyone has to deal with it in a certain way. There's not one set system, but it's interesting to watch.
Foul on Caicedo by the left back, Ed Lucas, wearing the red boots just outside the centre circle. Caicedo with that face mask on, right in front of the referee, who was in the perfect position to see it. It is Flamengo 0 and Chelsea 1 here on Talksport 2. Chelsea will go back to Trevor Chalobah at walking pace now, about 20 yards shy of the halfway line. You are listening to the FIFA Club World Cup live on Talksport 2, presented by DAZN. Watch every game in the FIFA Club World Cup as Palmer looks to race down the middle. Delap is there too. It's hacked away by the goalkeeper. Delap forced the error from Leo Pereira. They don't look comfortable playing out from the back, Flamengo, but he wasn't able to get onto the pass. This time, Chelsea's number 9. Club World Cup, live in for free on the Zone. Sign up at dazn.com. Big day for Liam Delap, first Chelsea star.
Yeah, he looks up for it, doesn't he? He really is. They're just pounding down the defender, chasing down on the goalkeeper as well. He won't last the full 90 minutes. I'm sure, again, it will be pretty much like match day 1, where there will be a swap over after 60. But if he can make a real impact after 60 minutes, then that's all he can ask to do, really.
Cucurella on the halfway line, infield to Caicedo, ball up the middle given away. And Gerson on the break for Flamengo. We are in the 21st minute here, on the day that PSG were beaten by Botafogo in this competition. The big shock of the tournament so far. And prior to that, it was probably the draw that Real Madrid picked up against Al Hilal. Scott and I were watching that one, and Al Hilal thoroughly deserved their draw.
Yeah, they did. I thought they played really well. A very contentious penalty at the end, which I'm really pleased was saved.
And it is still half-time in the game between Benfica and Auckland City. Benfica lead 1-0. Scott's former club, Benfica, but there's a thunderstorm in Florida, which is why the game's been delayed for some time. Good ball by Plata for Flamengo, looking for Luis Araujo, but well intercepted by Trevor Chalobah.
And you know what, surprising as that Botafogo result was against PSG, if Benfica do lose to Auckland City, that could be the biggest shock of the tournament.
Would you believe it? They are 1-0 up at the moment. Jorginho, midway inside the Chelsea half, back to Leo Pereira. It's actually been Flamengo, who are a silky footballing team, having most of the possession so far, and that one Chelsea break has led to the only goal. Luis Araujo pulling the ball back towards the edge of the D. It's left by Gerson for Wesley Franca, the full-back, to cross, and his effort is charged down by Cucurella on the corner of the penalty area. Back it goes now to Danilo, out wide to Wesley Franca, number 43, plays a 1-2 with De Arrascaeta, and he's chopped down by Pedro Neto. Another yellow card and a free kick in a dangerous position for Flamengo, but Neto and Chelsea are lucky that that was not a yard or two further forward and inside the box.
Yeah, look, I don't think Marco Correa, as good a player as he is, he's a really good defender as well as going forward, has done Neto any favours at all. He's not tight to his man, so he's able to play a 1-2. We know that Pedro Neto is a winger, and he's willing, he'll try and work hard, but he's not a defender at all. So don't allow that pass to come back in or drop off yourself. Pedro Neto, being the winger that he is, just dived in, realised he wasn't get there and got a yellow card. And Chelsea have been a little bit passive since the goal. I mean, both sides want to have the ball. We know that Flamengo are very good, and even up until the goal, they had more than 50% possession, but they're just dropping back in a little bit too much. Moises Caicedo almost making it 5 at the back. Someone in the defence needs to tell everyone to push up a little bit further. Otherwise, these type of things are going to happen.
Chelsea appear to have brought virtually everybody back behind the ball here. All in white as the free kick is whipped into the near post at pace and deflected away. Cucurella, the man at the near post, to get the touch, and Flamengo get themselves a corner. Chelsea 1-0 up, heading for 2 wins from 2 here on Talksport 2.
Could have been interesting, couldn't it? I mean, I think Robert Sanchez was behind it, but you would have seen it late.
Luis Araujo takes the corner short, and then a low ball delivered into the box by the number 5, Eric Pulgar, the Chilean, who has had spells playing in Italy. It wasn't a good ball in, right along the ground, and cleared away by Chalobah with ease. They have had most of the ball, Flamengo, as they suspected, across the first 24 minutes, but it is Chelsea who have the only goal. Forward comes Danilo, over the halfway line with the pass. Enzo Maresca standing on the edge of the technical area, hands on hips, the Chelsea boss in his grey tracksuit. Played football almost continuously for 11 months, Chelsea. Think about when 24-25 started for them. Pulgar pokes the ball down the middle. Good football from Flamengo. Gerson is 35 yards out. Wesley Franca on the right on the overlap. Gets to the dead ball line. Chips in the cross, and it's headed away by the retreating James. It's gone all the way behind for another corner.
And they look so dangerous, Flamengo. And it was actually Moises Caicedo who came across but didn't make the tackle because he made that silly tackle a little bit early on and got a yellow card. And off the back of that, he almost just let them go. They played the developed, and the cross came in. It could easily have been, 1-1, all because Moises Caicedo didn't make that initial tackle.
Corner into the 6-yard box, and Sanchez in the end makes a clean catch. He looked like he was going to juggle the ball momentarily there, the goalkeeper, but high above his head. Chelsea, of course, with 4 goalkeepers on the books, their first team goalkeepers, as Sanchez hurriedly clears upfield this time. But it will be interesting to see whether Chelsea do go back in for Mike Maignan or somebody else before the start of the Premier League season, certainly. And once they get back from the Club World Cup, they were not far off a deal for France's number 1. Here is Wesley Franke, deep inside the Chelsea half on the near side of the right, gets the clever flick back from Gerson and rolls it into the near post towards the onrushing Gonzalo Plata. Good defending by Chalobah, sliding in the flag. The checkered flag was up anyway, but they are a nice footballing team, Flamengo. They score plenty, easy on the eye, and they believe they can get an equaliser here.
Absolutely. There's been a really good reaction from them since conceding. I'll tell you what, that was inches offside. Probably just as well it didn't end up being a goal. Not just because I want Chelsea to win, I'm trying to be impartial here, Joe, but actually that was so tight, it would have gone to the semi-automated machine for sure. But they're playing really well Flamengo.
It's been all Flamengo, really. Certainly in the last 10-15 minutes, aside from the Chelsea opener. Felipe Luis watches on. He's still got the long hair from his Chelsea days. And
looks like he's still playing.
He does. Late 30s, Felipe Luis, 39. And Liam Delap making the run down the left for Chelsea. Held it up well, infield towards Pedro Neto. Cleared away by Jorginho, who tracked him effectively. Cucurella wins it back, 5 yards to the edge of the box. Square now to Malo Gusto. Long way out with the shot. Spilled by the goalkeeper, who gathers it at the second attempt. Not entirely convincing from Flamengo's number 1, Agustin Rossi. Malo Gusto never scored a senior goal for club or country. Speculative.
And when he picked up that ball, I'm thinking, don't shoot. And it wasn't actually that bad a shot, but you're right, Rossi made a deal with it. I mean, he should have just caught that reasonably easy, bouncing off the ground there. And you know what, Chelsea might think, someone like Cole Palmer, even Reece James, Enzo Fernandez. I'll tell you what, this goalkeeper maybe not great with long shots.
Edwin Lucas suddenly accelerates into the Chelsea half, and he's run fully 40-50 yards. And as he approached the edge of the penalty area, across came Caicedo to help out Malo Gusto. And Ayrton Lucas sandwiched in between the 2 white shirts. Chelsea clear, but not entirely convincingly. James has knocked it straight out of play, and it's a Flamengo throw close to the Chelsea dugout.
I'll tell you what, Trevor Chalobah did really well there, just coming across and blocking him, making sure that he couldn't make that run with came with such pace. Chelsea had the ball, and Flamengo pressed really high, and we ended up giving it away. It's a very good side up against, and 1-0, take that right now.
So looking to wriggle away down the left-hand side. He did brilliantly to shrug aside Franke and dart in between 2 defenders and poke it through the legs of one to find Delap, left corner of the penalty area. Leo Pereira comes across. Delap has held it up effectively by the corner flag. Leo Pereira gets a tackle in, and Delap's not happy with it. It will be a throw to Chelsea. Inspirational weaving feet from Pedro Neto in the build-up, though, in the tightest of areas. Dancing feet, Scott Minter.
Absolutely. It's almost like you on a Saturday night, Joe.
I don't think so.
I'll tell you what, though, Liam Delap and Pereira, that is a good battle already. You can see Liam Delap's already given him some in the first 15 minutes of this game. And just he was on the floor, and Pereira was like, no, I'm going to give some back to you.
Cucurella down by the corner flag. The Chelsea throw hasn't come to anything yet. In fact, Gerson has shown good strength to keep possession facing his own dead ball line, and he's body checked by Cucurella late, and that's a free kick to Flamengo with nearly half an hour gone. Live on Talksport 2, Chelsea 1-0 up, their final group game, as I say, and next Wednesday at 2 o'clock in the morning, Tunis against Chelsea. That'll be in Philadelphia at this stadium as well, and it will be live over on Talksport. Now there's the cooling break here. Chelsea and Flamengo both coming across to the near side touchline with half an hour gone, and they're going to take on iced water. Some players are going to put the iced towels on the back of their necks, and a very sensible the policy here, and I'm sure, Scott, we will see it at the World Cup next summer.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I remember, Joe, it was the first game of the season for me, and it was absolutely roasting. It really was. And I've never done it before, but I actually had an ice bath at half-time. And I felt so good in the second half. I was expecting to sort of tire, but I really think that helped a lot. So these little cooling breaks, one, are very sensible from a health point of view, but actually from a player's point of view, I would just try and get as many cold towels wrapped around me as possible and cool down my body so it, it doesn't tire out. But I think after half an hour so far, I'd certainly take this. Flamengo have done well. I've been impressed with them, certainly going forward and with the ball. And they'll be thinking, how on earth did we make that mistake, just messing around. There's a brilliant finish in Pedro Neto, I have to say. He ran from all the way in the halfway line, showed great composure, and then just put it one way, and the keeper went the other. I'm not sure that Chelsea deserved this 1-0 lead, but we'll take it.
Hard for Liam Delap to get into the game so far, really, on this first Chelsea start, full debut.
Yeah, but I think he's playing the role really well, in the way that he did when he came on in match day 1, and in the way that Nicholas Jackson did in match day 1 as well. They didn't score, but they both made assists. They both led the line very well. Had one or two defenders hanging them off him at any given time. And I think he's showing that he's absolutely up for this, and he's desperate to try and impress Enzo Maresca and the Chelsea fans as well. It's not an easy role to play when you're that lone striker and you're not being given a lot of chances, and especially when your team is not dominating possession. Chelsea have only had 34% so far. I think what he has done when the ball is anywhere near around him, he's absolutely made a nuisance of himself, and he's done pretty well so far.
Well, the cooling break is over. As always, we'll have quite a bit of added time at the end of the first half, you would think. Enzo Maresca said he was going to rotate his squad. 4 or 5 changes. 4 they had in the end. Chelsea, one of the players who started match day 1 as well, has given them the lead, Pedro Neto. 32 minutes gone, 1-0 Chelsea. And the ball is back with Ayrton Lucas, the left back, and now goalkeeper Rossi, all in bright yellow. Had a good record of clean sheets, actually, Rossi, coming into today, but that one is over now. And his big diagonal ball out to the Flamengo right doesn't find Gonzalo Plata. It's out of play for a Chelsea throw. The Flamengo team, there were 3 changes in all. One of them seeing the former Manchester United right back Guillermo Varela drop to the bench, and the number 9 Pedro likewise. Cucurella for Chelsea in the left back spot hooks the ball clear and into touch. It's a Flamengo throw on halfway. They are supporting their team quite fanatically here, the Flamengo fans. Jorginho back to the feet of Leo Pereira, just shy of halfway. Pereira meanders into the Chelsea half. It's a slightly scuffed ball out to the left by Luis Araujo, but he gets it back from Ayrton Lucas nonetheless. And Pulgar plays it back to the centre circle again. Leo Pereira with a 1-2, gets it back from Gerson. Jorginho high over the top, down the middle, headed away by Malo Gusto, and Moises Caicedo wins the second ball back for Chelsea. He's fouled by Luis Araujo, right in front of the referee again. And Chelsea will get the free kick. Not a game where Chelsea have been fluid and free-flowing so far, but I suppose this is what the Club World Cup is all about. Different kinds of tests from quite actually a vast array of different opposition, especially in the group stages, Scott.
Absolutely, and again, I want a European side, I want an English side, I want Chelsea to win, okay, let's just put that out there, but I actually want the South American sides to do well, and they're very proud players, very proud nations, very proud continent, and they want to show Europe that everyone's saying Europe's going to go and win it, and there's going to be lots of teams from Europe in the semi-finals. Well, we've already seen Botafogo, what they've done against the best that Europe have to offer. It's a fascinating game, this one as well. It's far from over.
Well, they are a good side, Flamengo. They are here because of their triumph in the 2022 Copa Libertadores. Ball forward towards Gerson, the captain, just shy of the centre circle, and now it's at the feet of Pulgar, back to Danilo, and they continue to dominate possession here, the Brazilian side. Chelsea not seeing a lot of the ball at all, even though they do have the 1-0 lead. hoisted over the top by Leo Pereira. Gusto with the back header straight into the gloves of Sanchez, good defender. And Chelsea do look quite solid defensively.
Yes, they do. I think that's really important, but I was just looking at Moises Caicedo. He's such an important player. You know, it's the reason why they can rise Caicedo to a point into Fernandes, although they're not quite the same player. Those defensive midfielders, what would Rodri go for right now? They're just so important to the team, both defensively and offensively.
Caicedo over the halfway line, angled ball out to the inside left. Enzo Fernandez carries it forward and pushes it on to Cucurella. Little 1-2 between the pair again. Enzo Fernandez with strapping on his right wrist. Back to Colwill now, midway inside his own half of the field. Flamengo have completed more than twice the number of passes that Chelsea have in the game so far, which tells you about their domination of possession, but it also tells you that possession isn't necessarily everything.
No, absolutely. But it is a 90-minute game, and Chelsea carry on playing, running around, trying to chase the ball back. To be fair, that's not exactly what they're doing when they're without the ball.
Over the top towards Neto, overhit and gathered by Rossi.
They're almost just sitting back and saying, OK, we'll try and soak up pressure, which at times in itself can be dangerous. Got away with it so far. There's been a couple of opportunities Flamengo have gotten behind or have got an opportunity of a crossing. So they're trying to conserve themselves, Chelsea, but need to do a little bit better with the ball and make Flamengo run a bit. But you're absolutely right. The only stat that's important is the scoreline.
It's the voice of the former Chelsea defender Scott Minto with 9 minutes of the first half remaining on Talksport 2, plus the expected added time. Flamengo have it with Wesley Franco. It's been actually quite a well-paced game so far. In near 30-degree heat in Philadelphia, it's about 20 to 3 or so local time. Cucurella, the long curly hair, takes the throw, goes back to the feet of Colwill, who I think undoubtedly is Chelsea's first choice centre-half, and he's tried to delay the restart here because he took it straight out of play, slowed the game down, doesn't get a booking, and Flamengo take the throw themselves anyway. Gerson towards the corner of the penalty area, gets it back from Jorginho, but Chelsea have got virtually everybody in that off-white strip behind the ball.
Yeah, it's brilliant pressing from Plata. One, he didn't allow Colwill to get the ball back to Sanchez, and so he had to run round the other way and just had a heavy touch. Flamengo got the ball, so the better side at the moment.
Wesley Franco blocks off by Cucurella, firm but fair in the left back position. Loose ball comes for De Arrascaeta, who can't get beyond Colwill. Back it goes to Sanchez via the touch of Enzo Fernandez, and it's over the top of the head of the defender, and Pedro Neto's got lots of space to race into down in the left wing position. Near side of the field, but he's held it up. And he's gone backwards, and all the momentum has gone out of that Chelsea counter-attack. They were quite slow to get forward in support. Here's the new number 10, Cole Palmer. Out to the right, and Malo Gusto. Back to Palmer again, right edge of the box. He looks to jig, shuffle in field. Held up by Jorginho. Palmer square to James, out wide to the far side again, and Malo Gusto taking on Ed and Lucas. And Chelsea again, a little slow to attack. Palmer tried to spin Jorginho, but was pulled back. And that's a free kick to Chelsea in a right-wing position, a dangerous position. Yeah, it was. I was thinking, I haven't really seen hardly anything of Cole Palmer so far. It was a great little turn. You've seen the yellow card come out for Jorginho there, and he's got turned and he's pulled his shirt, he's brought him down. I don't see what more you have to do for a yellow card. James standing over the free kick, and of course Palmer an option as well. Chelsea standing plenty forward away at the end to our left-hand side, live on Talksport 2. Chelsea, a goal to the good. You can see Colwill in the box, Chalobah, Cucurella good in the air is there as well, and Delap's gone to the back post. There are 3 Chelsea players over. Pedro Neto is joining James and Palmer now. I don't feel the one man in the wall is 10 yards. In fact, there's a player not in the wall closer away, closer to them, as Palmer whips in the cross, header away in the end by Pulgar. There's no way that the other player was 10 yards from the ball. Chelsea have had to recycle it and go back to Sanchez. 1-0 up. Yeah, I don't really understand that set piece though. 3 players around and took a touch and whipped the ball in. We're under more pressure than they would have been if they just whipped it in on the plane. If it wasn't 10 yards away, still it's a good 8 yards away. Sanchez clears upfield. There's a red balloon that's bounced onto the pitch from one of the Flamengo supporters. Their team win the ball back effectively again. Jorginho just shy of the centre circle, back to Ayrton Lucas. Pulgar stabs it towards the halfway line with the outside of his boot. Good turn by Luis Araujo away from Malo Gusto, but a very early ball crossfield from left to right. Nobody's going to get there in a red and black shirt. Marc Cucurella is there for Chelsea, and he'll play it back to Robert Sanchez, who hasn't had a serious save to make in the game as yet. Good reverse ball by Chalobah out to the right wing-back position. Malo Gusto forward over the halfway line. And now James, crossfield, poor, intercepted by Gerson, and the break could be on here for Flamengo as they seek an equaliser. Luis Araujo tries to clip it up the middle, not convincingly. And Gonzalo Plata couldn't get there, cleared away by Chelsea, who are 1-0 up without being particularly impressive in terms of performance. Not seen a lot from this Chelsea side, other than the very well taken Pedro Neto goal, but it was an individual break on the counter. They are sitting off the Brazilian team, who in fairness to Chelsea are definitely going to be fresher. They're partway through their own league season, Flamengo, and Chelsea have had a pretty relentless 11 months, Scott.
That's a really good point. The South Americans are definitely sort of peak in terms of that physical form. They're also used to these type of conditions as well, whereas when we're not in England, well, in England for the last week or so, it's been pretty decent, but generally speaking, at the end of the season as well, very, very tired. So from a physical peak point of view, Flamengo should be on top. To be fair, they are. They're playing really, really well.
They certainly are.
Without creating major chances, I have to say.
Yeah, we haven't seen Sanchez, as we said a few moments ago, have a serious save. And we've got 3.5 minutes of the first half remaining, normal time that is. Great play by Wesley Franca to bring a long ball out of the air, and he's caught by Cucurella. Across comes the referee, Wesley Franca. Did he go down a little easily? Cucurella certainly thinks so, can't believe it.
I'm sorry.
He's thrown himself to ground.
It's never been a foul. He didn't even think it was a foul. He's gone in, Marc Cucurella, strong, but he's won the ball. He has got him as well, and he's realised that, you know what, I've lost the ball, I'm going to go down. I don't even think the referee's assistant he definitely didn't put his flag up. But the referee's given it in what is a very, very dangerous position. Just saw pictures on our monitor. Zico.
Yes.
I mean, they love him playing there right now, especially being on this free kick.
Well, they've got a free kick on the right corner of the penalty area here, which De Arrascaeta is standing over. Mostly Chelsea fans behind the goal to the right-hand side as we look at it. Lots of royal blue. 2.5 minutes remaining in the first half of normal time. This is Talksport 2. De Arrascaeta with a curling free kick to the back post, and Levi Colwill heads it off the line to deny Gerson's deflected efforts. They're still on the attack here, Flamengo. De Arrascaeta again looks to that back stick, and Gerson once more. This time the covering header from Caicedo to nod it back to his goalkeeper, but Levi Colwill has kept Chelsea in front.
Yep. There's a ball to the far post when no one's there whatsoever. Levi Colwill has read the situation so well, just dropping in. Robert Sanchez is beaten, it's going in at the far post. That is as good as a goal, Joe. Us defenders don't get the credit. Doesn't go down on a score sheet there saying stopping the goal. It will do for Pedro Neto, but it won't do for Levi Colwill, but it actually equals out to be the same.
Outstanding Levi Colwill last season. Chelsea on the break down the right-hand side. Pedro Neto's low ball. Delac went for it and denied by the sliding challenge of Wesley Franca. Timed that brilliantly, otherwise Delac would have had his first Chelsea goal. Cole Palmer, right edge of the penalty area, blocked off by Jorginho. Chelsea throw, and it is starting to open up in the latter portion of the first half.
Yes, it is. Really good run. Just in behind with Pedro Neto, this time on the right-hand side, and he was definitely onside, just curved his run, played it in first time. Good defending, because Liam Delap went to the near post, but in the end he wasn't able to to get a proper contact on it.
Looks like he's playing with a lot of freedom and a lot of enjoyment, Pedro Neto, at this tournament so far. Chelsea come forward out on the right, the far side with Malo Gusto. The shade had come across the pitch for a few moments, but the bright sunshine is right back out again in Philadelphia. Chelsea 1-0 up. Cucurella in the left wing position. On the underlap is Enzo Fernandez, and he's got to the angle pass. He's reeled his way into the area. He's gone down, nothing given by the referee. That was a big decision for Ivan Barton, and I'm sure VAR will check it. I think it was Gerson coming across with the challenge, the captain. It was right just inside the penalty area, I think. The two number 8s tangling. There was initial contact maybe outside the box, but he looked to have pulled Enzo Fernandez back. No penalty given. Will the referee end up checking it?
Well, we'll have to wait and see, and if he does get called over, then I'm sure he will overturn it. Very rare do referees actually say, no, I'm sticking with my decision. I don't think they think clearly once they get to that point, but for me, that's a penalty.
You had a great view, Scott. We've got the referee's view on our monitor in the commentary position. There's a camera strapped to the referee, so we can see exactly what he couldn't have been at a better angle to see it.
Well, they're checking. VAR definitely checking. But he's turned him, Joe. He's turned him. He's got inside the box. His arm is up. It's kind of grabbing his shirt. It's not being given.
There's an angry reaction from the Chelsea fans. Boos, but cheers from the Flamengo supporters. VAR having a look at it, deciding that it wasn't a clear and obvious error, and it stays just 1-0 to Chelsea. They won't get the chance to take a penalty. We're into the first minute of 3 added at the end of quite an eventful first half in some ways. You've certainly seen them given, Scott. Yes, there wasn't a great deal of contact, but Enzo Fernandez has got away from Gerson, hasn't he?
Look, for me it's a foul, but we talk for hours about VAR. In terms of, I'm actually glad in a way.
Delap's been booked for what didn't look like a lot here. Late challenge on Leo Pereira. Be interesting to see that again on our monitor. There's absolutely nothing in it, and he's just thrown himself to the ground, the defender.
Yeah, look, again, I think it's one of those where Liam Delap doesn't need to go in like that. He's gone in and sort of put his arm out, but it's not a foul.
No contact.
He's made the most of it. I think there's contact, and that's the problem. He just puts himself in a position. Joe, we've seen this referee now in 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
Look, choose my words carefully. Let's just say it hasn't gone Chelsea's way. And you need to be careful with that, so you don't make that type of challenge. Even though we both agree it's not a foul, just don't go do that in the first place.
Now Ayrton Lucas coming forward down the Flamengo left. His deflected cross is out to play for a corner. Absolutely right, Scott. I mean, there's no suggestion of any question of the integrity of the referee, no. Obviously.
But Chelsea have had some decisions going against them here, for sure.
And I think because of the way that the Flamengo players have acted when there's been next to no contact, going down very easily.
Absolutely.
Corner's taken short, and now Luis Araujo with the pullback. Delap and Palmer covering. Palmer gets the block in. It'll be a 4th corner for Flamengo with 30 seconds of the first half to go. 1-0 to Chelsea. This is going to be out swinging, and surely Luis Araujo is going to fizz this into the box this time. He does. High and looping towards Leo Pereira. Downward header has nothing on it. Very tame. Easy gather for Sanchez. That'll probably do it for half-time for Chelsea.
Yeah, just make sure you don't mess around. Get to half-time 1-0. Could easily have been, well, it's difficult to say 2-0. You don't know how the penalty would have gone, but could easily have won a penalty. But just quickly on that, the short version is, it wasn't clear and obvious. It could be argued, but we still got away with it.
Diana Scaeta with the chip cross and headed behind by Cucurella. I think they will have a few seconds to take this corner, Flamengo. And Chelsea will have just a little bit more defending to do here at the FIFA Club World Cup, live on Talksport 2, presented by DAZN. Watch every game of the FIFA Club World Cup live and for free on DAZN. Sign up at dazn.com. Corner's taken short. 25 yards out is Pulgar. Rolled it back to Wesley Franco with a low deflected shot. Sanchez handles it well. And that is the half-time whistle. So Chelsea lead by a 1-0 in Philadelphia. and are heading for 2 wins from 2 at the Club World Cup. That would all but seal their passage into the round of 16. Pedro Neto with a fine individual run and finish for the only goal after a Flamengo error defensively on halfway. Wesley Franco was caught. Levi Colwell's header off the line, the closest that Flamengo have come, but Chelsea and Enzo Fernandez felt they should have had a penalty shortly before the break for Gerson's challenge on the Argentine World Cup winner, and he's still making his point to the referee at the moment is Enzo Fernandez. It won't change the decision, of course, but it is Flamengo 0, Chelsea 1 at half-time, Scott Minter.
Yeah, look, I'll take that. I'll take that from a Chelsea point of view. I don't think Chelsea have been the better side. It's been a tight game. We knew Flamengo, a good team, like to have the ball, and I'm not surprised to see. Well, I'm slightly surprised for them to have as much as 63% possession, but I'm not surprised they would actually have a lot of it in terms of going forward in the final thirds. I think Chelsea, generally speaking, defensively have been very strong, although they needed Levi Colwell for sure to just read the situation and make sure that he cleared off the line. But look, you know, these are difficult games. I think anyone thought it was going to be easy. This is, you know, the pride of South America against the pride of Europe and of England as well. I think Pedro Neto is just, it's moments, isn't it? And Pedro Neto has had that moment. So pleased for Chelsea, they go in at 1-0 up, but as I say, there's a long way to go before they come away with all 3 points.
Just to get on the penalty, Scott, look, again, it's a tough job for any referee, and we're not questioning him from that standpoint whatsoever. But Chelsea, do they deserve to feel hard done by? And are a couple of these yellow cards incidents where Flamengo players have thrown themselves to ground much too easily?
Yeah, I think maybe it's the referee not quite understanding what players are like, which he should do. He should understand. He's refereed enough games. Maybe he doesn't like certain way of the aggressiveness that some Chelsea players have gone in. So Caicedo probably did deserve the yellow card. Delap, I don't think did, but because he sort of ran in and the way that he runs in, again, it just lends itself to, if a referee wants to think that way, he will. So he's got to learn that game anyway, Liam Delap, and I'm sure this will help him learn. I think he'll only have another 15 or so minutes, then I imagine Nicholas Jackson will come on for him. But yeah, you know, in terms of the penalty, it's a penalty. It could be argued that it's not a clear and obvious error. I kind of think it was, but I don't want a VAR very, very light touch. You know, we did the game Real Madrid, Al Hilal. I thought that was a terrible decision of VAR getting involved, you know, with that penalty late on for Madrid. I want to see them just the lightest touch there. So look, it is what it is. I think Chelsea have got away with it a little bit, being 1-0 up. Defensively been strong, but they need to get hold of the ball and create a few more chances as well.
Okay, much more from Scott Minto to come. We will have second half commentary here on Talksport 2 at the break. It is Flamengo 0, Chelsea 1. You are listening to the FIFA Club World Cup live on Talksport 2, presented by DAZN. Watch every game of the FIFA Club World Cup live and for free on DAZN. Sign up at dazn.com.
It's a global goal fest, man. The FIFA Club World Cup 2025. Live on Talksport 2. FIFA Club World Cup kickoff on Talksport 2. Presented by DAZN. Sign up now at dazn.com to watch every game live and for free.
Have you bought a vehicle on finance between 2008 and 2020? Then you could be owed thousands in compensation. mycarloanclaims.co.uk can check to see if your dealer earned hidden commission. For more information on our no-win, no-fee service, text DRIVE to 60777. That's DRIVE to 60777. mycarloanclaims.co.uk is a trading style of a lawco, an SRA-regulated law firm.
Have you ever wondered what becoming a lotto millionaire sounds like?
You want to sit down? I can confirm that you have won £1 million indeed.
That's Terry, finding out he'd won £1 million.
Oh my God.
Lotto from the National Lottery. Will you be the next millionaire? Rules and procedures apply. Players must be 18 or over.
CEF Live 25. What a show! George Clark was an amazing host, but it was all of you who made it incredible. Over 12,000 of you. So, as a thanks to everyone who attended, we've got a few surprises lined up. Connect with us on Insta, TikTok, Facebook, or any of our social media to keep up to date. And while we're at it, let's get started on making CEF Live 27 even bigger and better. We'll see you next time, and thanks again. CEF, your electrical experts.
The Hilton sale is now on, so you don't have to book last year's hidden gem, which was hidden for a reason. Rustic charm, translation, no aircon, no Wi-Fi, and one goat. This year you booked your stay with Hilton. Spacious rooms, total relaxation. Let Hilton sale save your summer. Get away with up to 20% off. Book now at Hilton.com. Hilton, for the stay. Offer subject to availability. Terms and conditions apply.
McDonald's burgers are prepared to order. And the patties are made from whole cuts of beef, sourced from farms across Britain and Ireland, with a pinch of salt and pepper, nothing else. There's not much else to say, really. That sizzle speaks louder than words. Served after 11 a.m, subject to availability.
No one can fault you for trying.
All right now, love.
Yep. But cooking isn't for everyone. So, your dinner party has no dinner, but at least your table setting is immaculate. The candles, gorgeous. Softly scalloped champagne flutes, delightful. That pie might be burnt, but that speckled serving plate is straight up fire.
Don't worry, you can eat around it.
A blaze of glory. Whatever happens, style it out. F&F, available in selected stores and online.
It's a super sizzling Saturday night of a live under-21 European Championship football on the Talksport. England versus Spain. Bravado and Scorchable talk starts at 7 with unmissable Sminky Pinky. Full match comes from 8. It's a supersonic Saturday night of under-21's European football on Talksport.
On DAB+, online, via the Talksport app and on your smart speaker.
Club World Cup Football.
They're at it again!
That's the Summer Soccer Fest, Tom. Thanks, Bob.
What a bit of skill!
Making football so great, great again. The best soccer ball on the radio. The FIFA Club World Cup Live on Talksport 2.
And goals we trust.
It is Flamengo 0, Chelsea 1 at half-time at the Club World Cup. Chelsea heading for back-to-back victories to start their group stage campaign. They will virtually be assured of a spot in the last 16 if it stays like this. If Chelsea win, and the game later on between ES Tunis and LAFC ends in a draw, or if Tunis are beaten, that'll be enough to take Chelsea straight through into the next round as group winners, and it would mean that they would likely avoid Bayern Munich in the round of 16. England, meanwhile, began their Test series against India today at Headingley. Tough first day for the home team. The tourists 359 for 3 at the close of play. For the first time ever, Talksport overseas listeners can tune into coverage of an England home Test series via our Talksport Cricket YouTube channel. We've got an expert team talking you through ball-by-ball commentary. England legend Steve Harmison, the former New Zealand star Jeremy Coney, and fans' favourite David Bumble-Lloyd. Bumble spoke to Talksport Breakfast this morning about what he is expecting from the series.
The big mistake is for people to say this is a warm-up for the Ashes. This is a full-on series. 5 matches against that young side with an inexperienced captain, and they've got probably the best bowler in the world in Bumrah, so it's a good examination for England, is this?
Do you know what we were saying earlier, David? Dean and I, Ben Stokes, he looks as if he's lost loads and loads of weight. He looks so fit.
Well, he's as fit as a maggot, and he's had this injury and he's got ready. You know, he's had one innings to prepare for this, but he's the one bloke that can probably do that.
Dave, I'm looking at England's team and in the last few years since McCallum's took over and the different baseball that they've played, and they've sort of come into a conclusion that they're going to sort of maybe go a bit of both. Are there any weaknesses in the England team?
Well, all the debate is at number 3 with Ollie Pope, and would it be Jacob Bethel or Ollie Pope? So they've stayed consistent with selection, and I think what they're saying is that we're going to give this Ollie Pope at number 3 every chance. If it doesn't happen, Bethel comes in at number 3. Ben Stokes is at number 6, Smith is at 7, Walks is at 8. They've got a long batting lineup.
Yeah. What about conditions, David? It's going to be, I don't know about Leeds, but it's going to be a beautiful warm day in most parts of the country. Do you win the toss and bat first at Headingley?
Well, everybody would, but all the stats would tell you that England winning at Headingley by batting second. It is, I mean, it's going to be 30 degrees here today. There's not a cloud in the sky. It's unbelievably dry. But you never know what Stokes and McCullum are going to do. They'll look at these stats and think, well, we win batting second. I wouldn't be at all surprised if they shove them in.
Dave, Michael Vaughan, obviously an experienced cricketer and well-respected pundit. He's had a little pop at Ben Stokes. What do you think of what he said?
Oh, I've just been with him. I've just been with Vaughan. I've left him about 10 minutes ago. He never said anything about that. He was telling me how great. What's he said?
Well, he's questioned his captaincy, and it was a bit of a shock, really.
I've just left him. We've done a breakfast with some punters this morning, and he says he's the greatest captain there's ever been.
David, just looking at the opposition and the Indians, there's a couple of fantastic players retired now. You mentioned the bowler there. What about batters? Who can we look out for a name that maybe we're not aware of yet?
Opening batter, Jaiswal, he's world class. He plays like Ben Duckett, very aggressive. Rishabh Pant is an aggressive wicket-keeper batsman. Shubman Gill is beautiful to watch, a lovely player. Although he only averages 35, they're very, very talented batters.
Yeah, I can tell by your voice you're looking forward to this.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, at Headingley as well, the sun's shining here at Headingley. It's a 5-match series. I just think this is going to be full on.
Yeah, brilliant.
What's the par today? Batting first, Dave.
Oh, I mean, they're so aggressive and they're a talented side. 300 will be on the board today. Them days have gone when it's 210 for 2, like watching a fire go out.
Well, that is fans' favourite David Bumble-Lloyd speaking to Talksport Breakfast this morning. England began the Test series against India at Headingley today. The tourists 359 for 3 at the close of play. Talksport Overseas listeners can tune into coverage of an England home Test series via the Talksport Cricket YouTube channel for the very first time. We've also got lots more Club World Cup action to come starting Monday morning, the early hours, 2 a.m. for Man City against Al Ain on Talksport. Likewise, Chelsea's final group game is next Wednesday in the early hours. Tunis against Chelsea, Wednesday at 2 a.m. And Manchester City's final group game against Juventus live later in the week. We've got the Under-21 Euros tomorrow, 8 o'clock, England against Spain at the European Championships. And that is the quarter-final game, which will be live on Talksport. And will be the home of the Women's Euros this summer across the network, with every Lionesses game again live over on Talksport. Before the Premier League starts again, we are the place to be. And make sure you download our app. It is free and easy to download. You can swipe between both stations at your leisure and watch live shows on our app as well. Joe Shedden and former Chelsea defender Scott Minto with you for Club World Cup action. Flamengo 0, Chelsea 1 at half-time on Talksport 2. I wonder what Enzo Maresca is thinking, Scott. I wonder how much of that first half Chelsea performance and the way that they set up was dictated by the weather, dictated by the heat against a team who are a possession side and keep the ball well.
Well, it was dictated by the heat and the weather, but it is the same for both sides. And I thought Flamengo dealt with it in terms of, the possession and sort of keeping the ball and controlling the tempo of the game. Chelsea weren't chasing. Whenever they didn't have the ball, they were just kind of sitting back, whereas actually Flamengo did try and press whenever they could and won the ball back at times. I just wonder whether he will make a change, and the one that's in my head, I'm interested to see what he does with Reece James, maybe put him back to right back and bring on Romeo Lavia. I spoke earlier about how I feel that first half of match day 1, while Enzo Fernandez in the second half scored the goal, Chelsea had much more control of the game with Lavia and Caicedo alongside each other. Reece James isn't dominating in the way that Lavia can and sort of playing alongside Caicedo in the way that Lavia can. So that's the one thing that I would do. I would, take Malagusta off. He's done nothing wrong. He's tried to get forward at times, but Reece James is the better right back, and put Lavia in their midfield alongside Caicedo and try and control it a little bit more.
Does he look comfortable? Does he look happy there, Reece James, in that position?
No, I do think he can play there. As I said, he played there when he was on loan at Wigan and won Player of the Season in the Championship. He's played there recently, actually, for Chelsea. But there is a difference between playing full-back, where you've got the whole picture in front of you, and then midfield, where sometimes you're receiving the ball from one of the defenders back to play. And I think you kind of tell if it's a full-back playing in midfield, because they don't always want the ball or try and show in that way. And I'm not saying that he is doing that. I'm just saying that Romeo Lavia, I feel, would find a way to get on the ball a little bit more. And then Moises Caicedo, with an early yellow card, he realised he's got to be very careful. Almost made a tackle, then just didn't make any tackle about 5 minutes after that, and Flamengo ended up having an opportunity by getting out wide and putting it in the box. Yeah, I just think for me, Lavia just adds that more stability in midfield and control the tempo of the game.
Well, here come the Flamengo players from the tunnel in one corner of this stadium, the Lincoln Financial Field, which will host some World Cup matches next summer. Felipe Luis, the former Chelsea player, spent just one season at the club, takes to the field as well. Chelsea have not re-emerged for the second half just yet. Very high temperatures and nowhere to hide really for the fans. There is only one section of the ground, and quite a small section that is covered with the roof. Will we see any half-time changes from a Chelsea perspective? It's also worth noting they've got 3 players on yellow cards: Caicedo, Neto and Delap. Not an easy game for any centre-forward, Scott, at the moment, whether it was going to be Liam Delap or Nicholas Jackson. It's the kind of game that Cole Palmer has found hard to get into as well.
Yeah, it's a really good point. Not seen as much of Cole Palmer in that first half. A couple of little twists and turns, but nothing really. I want to see him get a little bit more involved. Let's hope he sort of has those same thoughts at half-time that he did in the Europa Conference League final, where he was a bit fed up of passing sideways and forwards and thought, I'll grab this game by the scruff of the neck, and that's exactly what he did in that second half. But yeah, look, he will be careful with Liam Delap. I'm sure he'll just say, look, give us 15 minutes, do what you can do, but do not get sent off. And that's something which, if Liam Delap wants to be the main guy up front for Chelsea, not only does he have to be good, but he has to be reliable. You have to trust him. You have to realise that, okay, we want you to play with aggression and play on the edge, but, not to the point where you do get sent off. As I say, I wouldn't be surprised if it's a 60-minute job and Nicholas Jackson comes on, but can he score a goal before then? I think that second goal is so important. But I do believe, like match day 1, that Enzo Maresca will do what's right for the players rather than necessarily right for this particular game.
Well, they are out very early here, Flamengo. Now we're starting to see Chelsea players emerge. Elsewhere at the Club World Cup, Benfica against Auckland City kicked off nearly 3 hours ago. Well, 3 hours ago now, and it is still half-time. A weather delay means the second half hasn't been able to get underway. Benfica were 1-0 up when the game was suspended. So we'll try and keep you up to date with that. Chelsea hoping to become the winners of Group D. Out come the players onto the field. Neither Flamengo or Los Angeles would be able to finish above Chelsea on 6 points, with head-to-head results being the first tiebreaker. Should teams finish level on points in the group stage. So Chelsea will get the job done if they win today, and they can be winners of the group, as we've been saying, if they win. And then the game to come later between ES Tunis and LAFC ends without Tunis emerging as victors. So Chelsea 1-0 up, second half about to begin, no changes at half-time. Chelsea in that off-white from left to right. Liam Delap gets the game back underway. Back to Robert Sanchez, the goalkeeper, with Augusto, Chalobah, Colwell and Cucurella in the back four. James, Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez in the middle. Palmer and Neto in support of Delap up the middle. And Flamengo playing from right to left in the second half as Jorginho is fouled in the left back position. Flamengo in their dark red and black hooped shirts black shorts and red and black hooped socks. They have Rossi in goal. On the ball now, Wesley Franca, Danilo, Leo Pereira and Ayrton Lucas. Gerson, Jorginho and Pulgar, Plata, De Arrascaeta and Luis Araujo are the front three. So Chelsea are closing in here on the last 16. The ball is on the halfway line, and now Gerson trying to get on the end of the pass, pop forward towards him, but he can't reach it. The ball from Gonzalo Plata. Chelsea have it back again a minute into the second half. They lead 1-0, and they are closing in on the last 16, Scott Minter.
Long way to go yet, Joe. Let's be careful what we say. If there's anything in the first half, anything to go by, I feel that Flamengo will try and step it up even more. Didn't create as many chances as perhaps their possession deserved, but they still had the same amount of shots, but more shots on target than Chelsea did. It's just that one moment, and sometimes when games are tight, that's the difference. And one of your star players step up, and Pedro Neto has done it so far.
Jorginho in the centre circle, early ball tucked down the middle by De Arrascaeta, and it's won back well by James. Good industry in the middle of the park. Chelsea have it with Liam Delap, centre circle, and a nice sweeping pass out to the left-hand side towards Pedro Neto from Enzo Fernandez. Neto left edge of the penalty area with a cross, and it's headed away by Leo Pereira. Good flowing football by Chelsea, who are trying to get back on the attack again out on that far side, and Pedro Neto has to jink back towards Cucurella, and now it's with Colwill on halfway. But that was much better than a lot of what we saw in the first half from Chelsea, who despite that 1-0 lead didn't create a lot.
You kind of feel for Delap a little bit in terms of he's doing all the running and any sort of physical plays. Certainly not afraid to go against the defenders that way, but he does need a Cole Palmer or Enzo Fernandez to see those runs, to play him in. Talked about how we haven't seen really enough of Cole Palmer in that first half. We want to see a little bit more. He can get on the ball and then look at those runs, which he did for that goal, of course. He played the pass to Liam Delap, who then put the cross in for Enzo Fernandez in the first game against LA. Just want to see Palmer more on the ball.
Chelsea through with 2 wins from 2. And here is Colwill midway inside his own half the field. Forward to Caicedo, little glancing touch intercepted by Leo Pereira. They've got it back here at Flamengo, but it's given away to the feet of Moises Caicedo. Now James in a tangle in the centre circle. He's done really well to hold it up there, James, and poke it forward. He was fouled by Luis Araujo, who looks frustratedly at the referee. Play continues though from that Chelsea free kick. 1-0 in the lead. Delap running the channels inside right. Palmer in the middle. It's pulled back towards Palmer. Not a great ball in the end from Delap. A little bit bobbly towards Cole Palmer, and it was intercepted by the former Manchester City player Danilo. You're listening to the FIFA Club World Cup live on Talksport 2, presented by DAZN. Sign up now at dazn.com to watch every game live and for free. And of course, maybe one of the incentives for Chelsea, if they do win and secure their spot, and particularly if they secure it as group winners, in terms of winning the group, they'd have to wait until later today to find out. But you'd think there'll be lots of changes made by Enzo Maresca if Chelsea know for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like a Euro, especially a World Cup, where if you can get those first 2 games done and suddenly you're qualified, well, why would you not make changes and keep it fresh? Let other people who haven't had a game or haven't had too many minutes, let them have their chance to impress as well, while your star players can rest up and make sure they peak for the knockout stages.
Raiding down the right is Malo Gusto, but a good start to the second half from Chelsea, and they've got a free kick. Right corner of the penalty area, foul on Gusto by the retreating left-back Ayrton Lucas, who smiles wryly towards the referee, but he certainly caught him from behind. And Chelsea have a free kick. They're having a lot more possession in the first few minutes of the second half, and they still have the lead, Scott Minter.
Yeah, it's been much better in the second half, without a doubt. 79% possession so far. They've been very much on the front foot. Malo Gusto, as a player, I do like. Had a better season first time round than second. Trying to get forward as much as he possibly can. Better when he bombs on down the right rather than coming in as an inverted midfielder.
Free kick whipped in. Cucurella glancing header wide. Edge of the 6-yard box. Big chance for Marc Cucurella, who scored some important winning goals for Chelsea in the second half of last season, and he ghosted in. Would have been touch and go, I think, in terms of whether he was offside, but lovely ball in by Reece James.
Yeah, I think he probably would have been offside, but What an opportunity. He's just ran in front of the Flamengo players and no one's gone with him or tried to stop him.
Absolutely lovely ball. Tracking back now is Cucurella for Chelsea to win it back midway inside their half of the field.
He's incredible, isn't he? I mean, he can't be any more than 5'7", and yet he finds a way to defend really well. He doesn't get beaten too many times on the back post in crosses, although crosses don't really come in so much nowadays. But he gets forward, he can bomb on down the left, he can also play inverted and also score goals.
Well, it's a game where suddenly the ebb and flow, the little bit of pressure on Chelsea as they concede a throw.
And just as I say that, it gives the ball away. Free kick, a corner kick for Flamengo.
It's a classic, right? And there will be a free kick away on the right-hand side for Chelsea to defend. Everybody back, including Liam Delap, who is standing right in front of goalkeeper Rob Sanchez. Just waiting here to see the referee come across and intervene. It's Ivan Barton, who is the match referee. Corner out on the near side of the field. Palmer stretching to try and clear it, and the last touch was off the golden boots of Gonzalo Plata, not the golden touch there. Goal kick to Chelsea and Rob Sanchez, and of course Sanchez, 3 straight clean sheets in goal coming into today's game. It is 3:15 local time in Philadelphia, and he's been untroubled, hasn't he, Scott? The one chance that Flamengo had in the first half, Levi Colwill, brilliant header away.
Yeah, and he was beaten there, but apart from that, he's been pretty solid. Hasn't really had a lot to do, as much as we talk about Flamengo kind of dominating possession in the first half. Defence have played well and not had too many chances come up against him. And look, we know that Enzo Maresca wants his keepers to kick the ball out and play almost like a number 10, but he kicks it when he needs to.
Reece James on the halfway line. Good angled ball to the right-hand side. Malo Gusto on the overlap, whips in the cross, high to the back post. Flick header clear away by Wesley Franke. Now it's out on the left-hand side with Enzo Fernandez. Reverse ball right-footed, and that's poor. It is easily gathered by the goalkeeper.
Now, but Liam Delap puts his hand up as if like, well done, that's unlucky, because he wants those balls. If he makes that run, he wants someone to try and...
All miscued by James, and Gerson is darting into the penalty area. Twists inside the defender, and James gets back to tackle, and then the loose ball is somehow turned wide at the back post. Took a big deflection off James, who did brilliantly with the challenge. It looked to be drifting wide, somehow stayed in play, and Gonzalo Plata from point-blank range under pressure from Robert Sanchez. I don't know how he's not turned it in.
Well, it was very similar to the poor defending of Chelsea's goal. And 2 of Chelsea defenders just going for it, Reece James being one of them, and suddenly it is Gerson who's got the chance. He comes inside Levi Colwill. Reece James does really well to get back and get a touch on it. But yeah, Plata, he goes with his left foot and he misses it completely. I mean, it would have been tight because he's sort of 2 yards outside of the goal and is racing towards the goal line, so he's having to sort of almost hook it back in. Surely the right foot would be better than the left foot there, or the outside of the left foot. And he's not got a connection on it at all, and there's no doubt about it, Chelsea have got away with that one.
They escape danger as Rob Sanchez is treated in the goal mouth. Actually, might have collided with either Plata or the post in that incident. 10 minutes into the second half, and a lively atmosphere at the Lincoln Financial Field. The vast majority of the noise being generated by a massive Flamengo crowd in this stadium here. Chelsea are 1-0 up, but Scott, I get the sense we haven't seen the last of the scoring here, and I wonder actually whether Chelsea might need to get Philip Jurgensen on.
Well, he's just having a look to see whether he does. I think Robert Sanchez is going to be okay, but it looks like Enrique is going to come on for Flamengo, and I actually was slightly surprised that he didn't start the game. I'm interested to see whether he does come on for Plata. I would expect him to do that, but that's a great opportunity for the centre forward of Flamengo there.
And here comes the change, and it's De Arrascaeta who leaves the field. And onto the pitch comes Bruno Henrique, who has got vast experience having played in the Champions League, among other competitions, with Wolfsburg. And Beata Scaeta, an influential player, scored in the first game of the tournament for Flamengo. Not quite been able to exert his authority today.
No, he hasn't, but he's arguably their best player, most creative player. It's difficult to sort of decide to take those players off, even if they're not having a great game. Cole Palmer's not as well, but he did score in the last game, and he has scored in the last few games as well. So he's someone, if he gets that opportunity, he can do it.
High ball down the middle for Chelsea towards Delap, and the defenders got in the way, and he's poked it just wide. Nearly an own goal from Leo Pereira, as Delap was sent clear by that high-raking ball down the middle from Robert Sanchez, and Pereira very lucky that has drifted about a yard wide for a Chelsea corner. So easily could have been two. In fact, it's less than a yard wide. It's inches.
My goodness. Got away with that one, didn't he?
Corner's taken short for Chelsea. 1-0 up on Talksport 2. Palmer can't get to the deflected ball down the right. Jorginho can't shepherd it out to play. It's dropped to Pedro Neto. Left-footed high cross to the back post, and the goalkeeper sort of swirled in the air there. Rossi was able to pluck it out of the air. All in bright yellow. Flamengo on the attack now. On the counter live on Talksport 2. Chelsea's final group game next Wednesday morning at 2 a.m. against Tunis. Live over on Talksport. We've got both of Manchester City's remaining group matches live on the network as well. Here come Flamengo with Luis Araujo. Inside left channel, and Gonzalo Plata knew he was running from an offside position, so didn't make any effort to keep the ball in. He knew that he was going to be penalised for a free kick, goal kick to Chelsea anyway.
But just going back to that opportunity where Chelsea nearly scored, or it was an own goal. That's something that Liam Delap gives, that Nicholas Jackson should also, but we don't quite see it enough. I don't know whether that's Liam Delap saying to Robert Sanchez, look for that all the time and making those runs, or is Enzo Maresca kind of saying that as well. But Nicholas Jackson is every bit the athlete, maybe even a little bit more than Liam Delap. So I'd just like to see that sometimes. Edison with Erling Haaland, the ball over the top, creating panic, giving the different option, not doing the same thing all the time. And yes, it would have been an own goal if it had gone in, but a lot of credit would have gone down to, first Robert Sanchez and then Liam Delap.
Sanchez with a short pass to Caicedo, who wriggled away from Pulgar, but then his 10-yard ball towards the halfway line is intercepted by Wesley Franca. Suddenly it's Flamengo who are having a decent spell. But Chelsea do look a threat on the break. Miscue by Palmer, tried to flick the ball out towards the right with the outside of his boot. He has though won it back on halfway. Delap to James, and now Caicedo up to the halfway line where Enzo Fernandez is waiting. Angled ball to the left, and Pedro Neto, who can run at the defender, the Chelsea goal scorer. Wesley Franca beats him easily in the one-on-one to win it back, and it is a match with great intrigue as we head towards the hour mark. Chelsea 1-0 up at Lincoln Financial Field, which is certainly not full by any means. Gerson, although the lower tier is pretty packed, and that's where the noise is coming from. And Flamengo have got themselves back onto the ball in the game, Scott Minter.
Yeah, absolutely. All the while it's 1-0. They're still very much in this game. Not really look like they've quite got that cutting edge. Very good players, very creative. Have had chances, but they're not really good enough.
Sanchez clears the field for Chelsea, and then there's a foul on Cole Palmer. Out on the near side to Chelsea right. Poor challenge by Ayrton Lucas.
Great first touch, wasn't it? He was playing like Liam Delap, actually, the way he brought that down. He's got a defender right up against him. Another one comes in, catches him. Looks painful, but he gets up.
It was silky, wasn't it, from Cole Palmer? Top quality play.
One thing I would say as well, we were critical of the referee in the first half. Chelsea didn't seem to get the rub of the green. I think there's been a couple of challenges where if he wanted to keep on giving Flamengo decisions, he could have done so, and he hasn't.
High ball downfield for Chelsea, intercepted by Wesley Franca. Now Jorginho with the bright yellow boots on, up against his old team. And Jorginho, who of course we last saw in the Premier League at Arsenal. Out to the right-sided centre-half, Danilo. They have now been playing for an hour. 1-0 Chelsea lead. Good football fight by Flamengo down there right. Little touch by Bruno Henrique to Gerson. And now Gonzalo Plata! Tipped over by Sanchez. Fantastic move. and the Chelsea goalkeeper forced into an excellent save. Platter's rising drive edge of the box tipped over.
Well, really good play from Flamengo. Ball over the top, playing it across. Malagusta's had to tuck in. The ball's come to Platter on the edge of the box. He's come inside Gusto, and he should be doing better. Look, it's a really good save from Robert Sanchez. He's on the edge of the box. He almost slips as he shoots. But if he was in a much more composed way, in the way that Pedro Neto was in the first half, he should have given Sanchez no chance.
Corner on the near side of the field, drifted into the near post by Luis Araujo and cleared by the first man, Palmer. Flamengo certainly not giving up the ghost yet. And Sanchez finally has been forced into the type of save that Flamengo would have been hoping to force him into. Another drifted cross to the back post. Platter's downward header, and it's going to be tucked in. Bruno Henrique off the bench from close range to get Flamengo level. Pandemonium in Philadelphia. The roar of the crowd is extraordinary, and Chelsea are pegged back. And you have to say, on the balance of play, Flamengo deserve it. And Chelsea's qualification hopes are back in the balance. Flamengo won, Chelsea won.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that, Joe. I think Flamengo have played really well. Didn't really deserve to go 1-0 down. And yet, at the start of the second half, Chelsea were the better side. And Chelsea have tried to hold the line. But at the far post, he's not offside. And it's a great header across, it really is. It doesn't give a chance for any defender to get to it. It doesn't give a chance for Robert Sanchez to come out and grab it. But Chelsea will be disappointed that's allowed to happen. It's just run off Levi Colwill. And in the end, it's a simple tap-in. What a substitution that is. I did think he could well have started. But that's what you want your substitutions to do. Come on, make an impact. We thought Chelsea were in the game. Can't rest on your laurels at 1-0. Tell you what, all results possible still.
1-1 the score, and Chelsea ultimately pay the price. Bruno Henrique off the bench, the 34-year-old, to make it one apiece, and this stadium has just gone crazy. One of the loudest cheers we've heard at the Club World Cup.
Yeah, and it looks like Romeo Lavia is about to come on. For me, it's too late. He's got to come on earlier. Nicholas Jackson too for Liam Delap. Not surprised with that, just like 63 minutes in. I just felt, I mean, to be fair, as I say, Chelsea started the second half better, but they were starting to come into it, create a few more chances for Flamengo. I would have made chances straight away, and yeah, not surprised that it's Reece James coming off. Lavia has to come on in that central midfield. I think again they're just looking after Reece with his body, so keeping Malo Gusto on. If it was a final, I think, like what happened, Reece James will come on in the Europa Conference League and be at right back. It's disappointing, so disappointing.
Nicholas Jackson on what is his 24th birthday, replacing Delap. Lavia for James, as Scott was saying. Flamengo won, Chelsea won. A Chelsea win takes them through, but they have been pegged back, and it's all up in the air in Group D. And it is turning into quite entertaining Club World Cup. Gonzalo Plata wins it back in the centre circle. Chelsea under real pressure now in the sunshine. It's carried forward by Gerson, out to the right, and Plata again into the penalty area. Curling cross shot, maybe turned away by Cucurella. 20 minutes into the second half, and Enzo Maresca's team are on the ropes, Scott.
Well, it's really good defending from Marco Correa, not allowing him to come onto his left foot and open up the goal as well. But there's no doubt about it, this Flamengo, who have got the intent at the moment, that goal has changed everything. Their fans are bang up for this, and the players are too.
See you red and black behind Robert Sanchez's goal, swinging the shirts above their heads, the Flamengo fans. Corner for them. High, deep to the back post. Bruno Henrique with the header! Tucked in! They've turned it around to lead! This is an incredible recovery! Flamengo lead Chelsea by 2-1! Chelsea do not deal with the delivery effectively enough. It was only half cleared away at the near post. Header back across goal by Bruno Henrique. who scored the equaliser and now has been right at the heart of the goal that has turned this match around, lurking at the back post to knock it beyond the goalkeeper was Danilo. And the former Manchester City player has potentially helped set up a real shock here. And Chelsea heading for potential defeat for the first time in this season's Club World Cup. Danilo turned it in, was then absolutely buried amongst a flurry of celebrating Flamengo bodies. It's a great header by Bruno Henrique in the build-up. And Danilo from point-blank range, very similar goal to the equaliser. Flamengo 2, Chelsea 1.
It's just, well, all three goals have been really poor. The two goals Chelsea have conceded, what are they thinking? This one, just a simple set piece, a corner to the far post. Malagusto doesn't get not only a proper header of it, but he doesn't stop Bruno Henrique getting the clear header back. And then it's Danilo who just runs off Nicholas Jackson, a forward player, thinking like a forward, not like a defender, no one covering round at all. And in the end for Danilo, it's a simple tap-in. A really poor goal to concede. And this game has been turned on its head in 4 minutes.
Chelsea have got it all to do. And they would potentially need a victory against Tunis next Wednesday, early morning, 2 a.m. over on Talksport to reach the knockout stages. We've got the final quarter of the game to go, and Chelsea have been sloppy and leaden-footed. They are 2-1 down at the FIFA Club World Cup, live on Talksport 2, presented by DAZN. Sign up now at DAZN.com, DAZN. And Jackson is off! He is sent off a straight red card for a lunging challenge on the near side touchline. Nicholas Jackson, on his 24th birthday, is sent off. And that is the opposite of a birthday gift for the Chelsea forward, having only come on moments ago, seen Chelsea go 2-1 down. He is given a straight red card for a lunging challenge on Ayrton Lucas, right in front of the dugouts, right in front of the fourth official and the referee too. He took just half a second, Ivan Barton, to reach for the red card, and Nicholas Jackson, who's barely touched the ball since coming on, is sent off on his birthday. And what a nightmare this is turning into for Enzo Maresca and Chelsea. 2-1 down, and Jackson studs up, down to 10 men. He has to go.
Do you know what? It's a ridiculous challenge. He's gone so high, over the top of the ball. And we've seen this before, the Flamengo players have gone down easily, but you can't blame him for going down there. What is Nicholas Jackson thinking? I mentioned earlier about how Liam Delap, when he got the yellow card, look, we want him to play on the edge, but if he wants to be that centre forward that everyone relies on, you have to do just that, be relied on. You have to be on the pitch. And then what happens? Within a few minutes, Nicholas Jackson comes on and makes a challenge like that. It's a poor challenge. It's not really thinking, but it's a reckless challenge. You cannot make it. And these are the decisions that Newcastle, St James's Park, this one. You have to be able to rely on your teammates, and your manager and your fans have to rely on you. I like him. I've defended him a lot. I'm not sure he'll ever be the clinical striker of an Alan Shearer, Robbie Fowler and Michael Owen, but he can add so much to this team. You can't be doing that. And Chelsea now 2-1 down, one man down. There's a bigger picture here, Joe. It's not just about here, it's about, is the penny going to drop for him?
Well, Nicholas Jackson heads down the tunnel. Chelsea have no recognised centre forward on the pitch. Liam Delap having already come off, and they are 2-1 down and will play the final 20 minutes against a buoyant Flamengo team with only 10 men. Jackson was on the pitch for 4 minutes before that deserved straight red card. 6 minutes between Bruno Henrique's equaliser and Jackson's red. And in between that, Danilo turning the game around, and it's 2-1. Chelsea have completely lost their discipline and they have collapsed. Pedro Neto for them down the left, pulls it back. Cole Palmer controls in the area, tries to twist and turn, back to goal, shrugged aside by a sea of red and black shirts. Chelsea desperate now. Romeo Lavia, with 19.5 minutes to go, wins a free kick. In fact, the referees allow play to go on belatedly. Delivery in by Palmer, header away by Leo Pereira. Does he think about further changes here, Enzo Maresca? Has he got to get maybe a Tyrick George on, I wonder, or even Christopher Nkunku, Mark Guiu perhaps?
I personally don't think so. He's gone to a 4-4-1. Cole Palmer's playing that kind of striker's role now, with Enzo Fernandez and Pedro Neto being the wide players. But Enzo not going to play out wide, he's going to come inside. I don't think those players that you mentioned are better than what's on the pitch. They've got to be very clever. Enzo Fernandez has got to support Cole Palmer, but time the runs in. Oh, my goodness me. I cannot believe he's just done that.
A dramatic and very quick turnaround here, live on Talksport 2. In the bright sunshine of the United States, Philadelphia, Flamengo 2, Chelsea 1, and Chelsea down to 10 men. Straight red for Nicholas Jackson, 4 minutes after coming on. Cucurella in the left-wing position, infield to Pedro Neto. Now Flamengo are content to sit a little deeper and hold what they have, and then perhaps break as and when they get the opportunity. Third goal would finish it off. But Flamengo are taking charge of the group stages, make no mistake about that. And Flamengo are going to head through as it stands, and Chelsea, well, their passage would be in the balance. Forward they come towards Malo Gusto. Of course, you'd expect Chelsea to beat ES Tunis live on Talksport on Wednesday morning at 2 a.m. that time the game kicks off, but concerning performance, Scott.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is a good team they're up against. And from a tournament point of view, this is probably what the tournament wants and needs, to be able to show that the South American sides can absolutely stand up to the best of what Europe can offer. And we saw that, of course, didn't we, with Botafogo and PSG as well. But this has not been good. This is, from a 1-0 win, you need to be able to grind it out. And Chelsea have done that, actually, towards the end of the Premier League season. But just two really poor goals to concede, and then Nicholas Jackson doing that.
That won't help his cause.
Most definitely won't.
Race to become Chelsea's number one centre-forward. Of course, they will rotate next season. There are so many games.
I just don't know what he was thinking. It wasn't as if he's been on the pitch for very long, so there's been no sort of build-up of any particular player. Yes, two players around him and the ball was bouncing around, but just don't go over the top in the way that he did in the modern game.
Another yellow card out of the pocket of the referee for the Flamengo captain Gerson, who trod on the foot of Mark Cucurella. Less than 17 minutes to go of normal time, and we are going to have a cooling break here. Chelsea down to 10 men, 2-1 down, and the game has got away from them. I wonder where the substitutions, you I think were making this point anyway, Scott. Were they too late, the initial changes that Chelsea made anyway? Should they have come earlier than they did?
I think so. I think, the first goal was the 62nd minute. And look, you can't sort of say it has to be on the hour. It doesn't. But I just felt in the first half, Chelsea didn't have the control. There's no doubt about it. Despite being 1-0 up, it was Flamengo who controlled the tempo of the game. And I just think that Reece James, while he can play in midfield, he's a much better right back. Malo Gusto is a much better right back, not coming into midfield. If he's going to go further forward, it's down the outside. Romeo Lavia, I do like him. He looks so comfortable on the ball. He's big, he's strong, his awareness is good, his first touch is good, his passing is good, short and long. And it was almost a question of, look, we can't expect to go another 45 minutes in this team who are wanting to step it up and have already been very good. Expect to keep another clean sheet, but they were two very soft goals, I've got to say.
Very similar goals, in fact, almost a carbon copy. The equaliser and the goal that could turn out to be the winner from Danilo. And Felipe Luis is about to mastermind another very impressive victory in his early managerial career only been in charge at Flamengo for less than a year, 10 months or so. Flamengo 2, the 10 men of Chelsea 1. So from the cooling break, 15 minutes and then added time to come. And tough for Chelsea, Scott, chasing an equaliser in this heat.
In these conditions, absolutely. When actually Flamengo are very good on the ball, very good passing, and what they need to do is make the pitch as big as possible. Chelsea
Terrible ball by Sanchez.
Can't afford to give the ball away.
Straight to Plata down the right-hand side. Worst possible start in terms of impetus now that the game has resumed again. Flamengo playing from right to left, Plata out on the right. Jorginho was fouled, referee allowed the advantage to be played. They've been the better team, have Flamengo. Crossing by Wesley Flanker, poor clearance, and the shot is straight at Sanchez from Gerson. Poor clearance by Colwill. Chelsea lucky that wasn't a tougher save for Robert Sanchez.
Yeah, Chelsea now just need to make sure, well, one, they don't concede again, but two, somehow find maybe 2 or 3 more opportunities that they can, and might be set pieces, might be winning a free kick, bit of Cole Palmer magic. But at this moment in time, there's no doubt about it, Flamengo look like they're going to go on and win it. But like we said, at 1-0, they're not out of it. At 2-1, even with a man down, they're not out of it.
Look leggy, don't they, Chelsea? Enzo Maresca has been saying that they've cut back on training sessions and they're focusing really on the key things. It's 13 minutes to go and a lot of football that they played, and down to 10 men as well. And Flamengo just look like they've got so much more energy, although in fairness again to Chelsea, remember Flamengo are in the middle of the Brazilian league season.
Yeah, so everything's kind of against Chelsea in that way, but it doesn't matter. They're playing for Chelsea Football Club. Like all these teams, they want to participate, they want to win. It's not the end of the world. They can afford to lose a game in the group stages, but I think if Flamengo do go on and win this, I don't think many people can complain.
And on the right-hand side for Flamengo, Wesley Franca making the run. It's sent back to goalkeeper Sanchez by Cucurella. The high-hanging clearance up into the bright blue sky, but Palmer can't get on the end of it, and it's back from Danilo to the feet of Agustin Rossi, the Flamengo number 1. Rossi has had nothing to do in the second half. And actually little to do throughout the game. Nothing that he could have done about the goal from Pedro Neto. Feels a long time ago, that goal now at that stage to give Chelsea the lead. But 6 minutes and it's totally turned around. And Chelsea are a man down as Sanchez collects a long ball up the middle. Good work by Colwill to shrug aside Gerson.
Got away with that one, Sanchez. He came out, then decided to go back, when actually he still should have just stayed there. Colwill did do well by following his runner and making sure that the ball went all the way back to Sanchez.
Good hold-up play by Pedro Neto, 10-yard shy of halfway. Cucurella fizzes it into the feet of Palmer. Palmer holds it up, midway inside the Flamengo half. Waits for options left and right. Goes backwards to the centre circle and Trevor Chalobah. Chalaba's angled pass to the right. Gusto to Enzo Fernandez. Nice football by the 10 men, but Enzo Fernandez is then fouled by Bruno Henrique. Luis Araujo came across. They sandwich Enzo Fernandez in between them. Free kick Chelsea, dangerous area.
Yeah, the only thing is that there's not going to be many opportunities to kind of go on the counter-attack and get the ball in behind. And Cole Palmer just dropped deep. Pedro Neto ran in behind, and as the ball wasn't played, you could see the body language, the sort of head gone back with Pedro Neto, that just put it over the top, just put it in there where I can try and chase onto it and have a race with the defender. And in the end, he came back and Flamengo were able to get bodies behind the ball. Not going to get too many opportunities like that.
Well, it's just not Chelsea's day at the moment. Flamengo put everything into this. Wesley Franca, the fullback, is down inside the penalty area. He's being treated by 2 physios at the moment. Felipe Luis, I think, is going to try and get a substitute on here. It'll be interesting to see how his managerial career progresses, Felipe Luis. He is tipped to move into the European game eventually. He's only 39 and he's played under some great coaches. Wesley Franca might have pulled his hamstring here. A shame for him because he's been good. His mistake leading up to the goal aside. I wonder who will replace him and whether they will have to defend the free kick with 10 men here, Flamengo. 2-1 up Flamengo, 10 to go. Chelsea a goal down and a man down, Scott Minto. Running out of time here, and it'll stay in the balance, qualification.
Yes, it will. I still expect Chelsea to qualify, as you say, with Tunis still to play. We expect to win that one, but this is the difficult game in the group, and as it stands, Chelsea are on the way to losing it. Let's hope we can do something in the next 10 minutes.
Defending with 10 men here, Flamengo, as Cole Palmer delivers in the free kick. Enzo Fernandez with the looping header onto the roof of the net. I think the goalkeeper had it covered anyway. And Flamengo will get to re-establish their one-man advantage in a moment when they bring on Guillermo Varela and a young forward, Wallace Yan. Maybe if Enzo Fernandez had let it run to Cucurella on his outside, there might have been a better angle for the header. Mark Guiu and Noni Madueke ready in the off-white, the away kit of Chelsea. I think it's going to be the Brazilian team, the leaders of the game, to make the first couple of changes here. Gerson and Wesley Franca coming off. On come the former Manchester United man Varela and the aforementioned Wallace Yan. He's had a breakthrough campaign at Flamengo. Chelsea desperately searching for an equaliser. Off goes Palmer. Frustrating day, undoubtedly, for Cole Palmer. And Mark Guiu at least gives Chelsea a recognised centre-forward, even with 10 men. Enzo Fernandez also going off, Scott.
Yeah, I mean, Noni Madueke has to come on for sure. Interesting. Mark Guiu, I think you've hit the nail on the head there. At least you've got a sort of recognised centre-forward. And I still think, while you never really want to take Cole Palmer off, Enzo Maresca realises that this is not going to define the tournament, this particular result, so let's keep him a little bit fresh. He hasn't really had the game that we know that he can.
Quite a lot of talk about Mark Guiu potentially going out on loan somewhere next season. We will see. Here come Flamengo against the 10 men of Chelsea, leading 2-1. Platter into the penalty area, gets it back and shoots. Oh, and Wallace Yan has scored with his first touch. He's put it away, and he's put away Chelsea here in Philadelphia. There's the touch of a super sub. Wallace Yan from close range, he couldn't miss. It's another defensive mess for Chelsea. And a sloppy second half, crowned off by the conceding of a third goal. And surely now for the 10 men, there is no way back. Flamengo 3, the 10 men of Chelsea 1, and that is surely it.
Well, it's incredible, isn't it? Chelsea not the better side at half-time, but one up. Come out in the first 10 or so minutes and are the better side, but just two sloppy goals within 4 minutes has just completely changed the complexion. Nicholas Jackson comes on, goes off almost as quickly, but again, it's just poor defending. A little bit of luck with the 1-2 between Plata and the goal scorer, but he reacts really well, and once it comes off the back of Wallace Yan, when Plata has that initial shot, there's literally no one within 2 yards of him, so it comes off his heel. It reacts really well and is composed enough to give Robert Sanchez no chance whatsoever. We're down to 10 men, but again, you shouldn't be conceding a goal like that. And from us talking about actually Chelsea being quite strong in the first half defensively, have gone to pot.
Well, Chelsea are surely going to be beaten here. 6 minutes to go, down to 10 men. There is no way back. And Nicholas Jackson, remember, sent off minutes after coming on. Wallace Yan, the 20-year-old, his dream season and Flamengo's dream season continues. It'll be 33 wins from 47 under Felipe Luis. Unless Chelsea can do something dramatic here later on. A man like Madueke, first touches for him down the inside right, ball behind Malo Gusto, square. They don't really deserve anything from the game, Chelsea, you would have to say. Headed by Madueke, back to Caicedo, middle of the Flamengo half in a central area, drives towards the edge of the D, hacked down there by the lunging Pulgar. Another card out of the pocket of the referee, this time yellow. Free kick is at least in shooting range for your old club, Scott Minto.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I was talking about at 2-1, where somehow you can sort of contrive to win a free kick, and it certainly was, but a 3-1, you feel it's just too far away for them. But if they are going to do it, this is the moment to get that second goal.
Well, there is hope for Flamengo yet. Perhaps here for Chelsea yet, rather. The free kick is a long way from goal. Madueke standing over it. Pedro Neto joining him as well. Is it going to be the England international to hit it? There are 4 in the wall in red and black for Flamengo. And has Malo Gusto come across as well to size it up? Possibly here for Chelsea. That would be an interesting one. The referee spotted a problem in the wall. He's just making sure that everybody is standing in exactly the right place and that they're the full 10 yards. Cucurella's got to be careful not to tangle too much in that wall and give away a free kick. Madueke left-footed curler over the wall and over the bar. No chance of that dipping in enough time.
No, didn't have pace, didn't have power, didn't have whip. Just stepped up, and I think even if it was going on target, because it didn't have that pace, Rossi would have stepped over and caught that one pretty easily.
Well, Chelsea fans watching on rather glumly here in Philadelphia, but the Brazilian supporters are bouncing with joy and delight. 54,000 here at the Lincoln Financial Field, and they're not far away, Flamengo, from sealing their passage in the knockouts. And of course Chelsea, who knows, could end up having to face Bayern Munich if they get through in the round of 16.
Well, they'll have no one to blame but themselves if that's the case. And look, like any tournament, you have to beat the best, but you wouldn't mind a nice little cheeky, easy read-through. Win your group first.
Was out of his goal to clear. He's managed to hook it on to Lavia just shy of halfway. 10 men of Chelsea, 3-1 down. It's been a mess of the second half, really. There was a bit of promise, wasn't there? Scott Minto early on, but Flamengo have taken control.
Not had a shot on target, Chelsea, in the second half. Can't afford to do that. We said at half-time that obviously kind of got away with it. Felt that Flamengo would come on even stronger, but did they have enough to break this Chelsea side down? Well, as I say, those 2 goals in 4 minutes, a bit like what Chelsea did with Real Betis in the second half in the Europa Conference League final. Suddenly you're just thinking, I'm not coming back from this, but Nicholas Jackson as well.
Good sliding challenge by Luis Araujo on the near side, the left. Cucurella back to the halfway line, and now the ball is threaded forward by Madueke. Middle of the Flamengo half, square to Moises Caicedo. Caicedo with a clever chip to the near side, the right. Malo Gusto's across to bring it down. Malo Gusto taking on Lucas. He's rolled it back to Lavia now. Lavia towards Caicedo, couldn't control, trying to regain possession right on the edge of the box, and he's fouled again by Pulgar, who's just been booked. And this free kick for Chelsea even closer, right on the edge of the box this time, just to the right of the edge of the D.
Moises Caicedo does well there. Just uses his strength and he's pulled back. This is... we'll have to wait and see. Normally we favour a left foot, so I think Pedro Neto might fancy this one, especially after Noni Madueke's last one wasn't too good. He could either try and just shoot direct himself or pass it inside, try and miss a bit of the wall and open the goal up. I get the feeling that these players nowadays, they want it for themselves, haven't they?
You're not wrong. You're not wrong at all. Chelsea subs, Palmer, Delap, who've come off, watching on frustratedly. Malo Gusto standing over the free kick, right off centre. It'll be either him or Pedro Neto, or I guess they could shift it square towards Madueke or even Lavia. A yard from the edge of the box, right of centre. 6 in the Flamengo wall. It's shifted to Pedro Neto, who curls it. Takes a deflection. It's fallen to Guiu at the back post, and he's denied from an impossible angle by goalkeeper Rossi, who punches the air. Corner to Chelsea in the last few seconds of normal time at the end of the game. They are 3-1 down the 10 men.
Well, there was a little bit of touch first, wasn't there? For only a small one. Didn't make that much of a difference from Gusto and then Neto, but it just opened up half a yard. And needed those goals, those strikes to go in.
The corner's going to be drifted in from the left-hand side as we go into 7 added minutes. Can the 10 men do it? Surely not. Pedro Neto's out-swinging looping delivery is taken by Rossi easily. They've got to score twice in added time, Chelsea here, and they just don't look enough of a threat. And Chelsea had a great run, of course, on the back end of last season, and 9 wins in their last 10 in all competitions. The only disappointment, the Premier League defeat at Newcastle. Wallace Yan, who scored the third off the bench for Flamengo. Early ball for them down the inside right towards the run of Gonzalo Plata. They're partying in the stands, the Flamengo fans, and the Olays as they try and run rings around Chelsea. Cucurella gets a tackle in. It will be a Chelsea throw in the left-back position. 6 minutes of added time left. But it is surely petering out now. Pedro, the number 9, is going to come on for Flamengo, as is Michael, another forward who's spent some time playing in Saudi Arabia with Al Hilal. Yellow card for Plata, who is a bit slow to leave the field. Luis Araujo is also coming off. All of the forward line have been good for Flamengo, you have to say.
Yes, they have. Yeah, they have. It's just disappointing, isn't it? As I say, it's not tournament defining, no, but it does mean that, one, they have to win that game against Tunis, which they should. As you say, there's every chance to be playing Bayern Munich in the round of 16. You don't really want to be doing that too early.
As you say, they should beat Tunis, Chelsea, next Wednesday at 2 o'clock in the morning, live over on Talksport for Chelsea's final game of the group stages, Wednesday at 2 a.m. Madueke, inside right, 2 minutes through 7 added. Great running feet by Madueke, scampered into the box and went down. Nothing given by the referee. It was beyond 2 or 3 Flamengo defenders. Didn't really react to the challenge. Madueke suggests that maybe he was looking for it. And now the referee's run across to the near side to get in between jostling Flamengo and Chelsea players. He stopped it again here, the referee. Chelsea throw right wing position. Anything in that, Scott?
Well, he ran inside. That's what you want to see Noni Madueke doing. No, I think he got a little bit of a touch when he first went into the box, as the defender got the touch on the ball, and that kind of tripped him up a little bit. And no one touched him after that. So no, you can tell when not only the player goes down, but none of his teammates actually claim for a penalty that you know that it's not.
A yellow card for Gonzalo Plata is confirmed, he already having left the field. 3 minutes of added time have been played. 7 were confirmed by the fourth official. It is Flamengo 3, Chelsea 1. The 10 men of Chelsea after the sending off of Nicholas Jackson, and how disappointingly this game has faded away really here for Chelsea. At least it looks like being the case, Scott.
Yes, it does. And look, I mean, actually, Chelsea have not done bad since Nicholas Jackson got sent off. In terms of territory, actually played more of the game in Flamengo's half, but you just can't go down to 10 men in these conditions up against the side that you're 2-1 down already and expect to come back. It's not going to happen.
And the ball is back towards the centre circle, and now Gusto for Chelsea, midway into opposition territory. Angled pass out to the right-hand side, and Noni Madueke going on the outside of it, and Lucas, who slides in and knocks the ball out of play at the expense of a corner to Flamengo. 3-1 up here, Flamengo, with 3 minutes to go. Good ball, Caicedo down the inside right. Gusto's cross turned away by Ayrton Lucas again. Chelsea have woken up, but it's going to be too late, it looks like, anyway. Another corner taken short. Madueke dribbles into the box. Back to Pedro Neto with a curling shot from the angle, and that deflects high up into the air. And good determination by Pulgar to hold on to it and draw the foul. 2.5 to go. Pedro, the substitute, lofts the free kick downfield, intercepted by Caicedo. But Flamengo are going to be able to celebrate shortly. Sanchez dribbling away down the right near the halfway line, and his cannoned ball up the touchline is headed out of play. Well, this is the sort of urgency that maybe Chelsea needed to show 20-25 minutes ago.
Yeah, I think it's one of those at half-time. You almost want to protect the lead, but by doing that, you have to dominate the ball. And they just didn't do that enough do feel Lavia should have come on earlier. Saying about maybe at half-time. You know, ironically enough, Chelsea were probably at their best in the first 10 minutes after half-time, but I just think there's a much better midfield, much stronger midfield, especially for protecting the lead when you've got Lavia and Caicedo alongside each other.
On the left-hand side for Chelsea, the crossfield ball right to left from Pedro Neto. Madueke's touch is heavy, and Flamengo win it back with, 90 seconds to go. In front of 50,000 on a Friday afternoon in Philadelphia. And Chelsea with Enzo Maresca watching on, and there will be a few questions asked after this, no doubt about that. But it is turning into a day really where, quite simply, Chelsea will want to forget it and move on. They'll be back on this ground on Wednesday at 2 a.m. for their third and final match day of the group stages, live on Talksport. Here is an opportunity now for Moises Caicedo. Square pass towards Romeo Lavia. Lavia has held it up well. Angled pass to the right-hand side, Malo Gusto. Back to Lavia again. Lavia rolls the ball in field. Trevor Chalobah standing over it. Eli Colwill forward of the centre circle. He's played it left to Pedro Neto. Flamengo not far away here. 3-1 up against 10 men with 15 seconds to go. Colwill. It's all too little too late for Chelsea. Caicedo in the middle of the Flamengo half. But the referee spotted a foul. Free kick. Chalobah with it. We've had the 7 minutes of added time. Added time on added time now. Gusto in the right wing position, very determined defending from Flamengo. Everybody now in dark red and black behind the ball. And that is the full-time whistle. A second half collapse from Chelsea to leave their Club World Cup challenge in the balance. 6 minutes of second half madness against Flamengo set the tone after Pedro Neto's opener in the first half. Bruno Henrique and Danilo with quick-fire goals to turn it around. Then Nicholas Jackson was sent off on his birthday just moments after coming onto the field. And with that, really, it felt like Chelsea's challenge ended, at least in terms of on the day. Wallace Yan, the substitute, added the third late clinching goal, which is enough for Flamengo to reach the knockout stages. But for Chelsea, their passage through is still very much in doubt. Glum looks on Chelsea faces, and really, they only have themselves to blame. It has finished Flamengo 3, the 10 men of Chelsea 1. What did you make of a dramatic afternoon and a dramatic second half in particular, Scott Minter?
Yeah, the second half just wasn't good enough. You know, you'd expect Chelsea to, despite not playing particularly well, being 1-0 up, to take control of the game. And I said before, I would have liked to have seen Romeo Lavia. I understand what Enzo Maresca's trying to do. He's trying to give minutes to everybody and trying to play them in different positions, what they can do. Wants Malo Gusto to play, so we'll play Reece James in here. But you could see what was going to happen in terms of this particular game in the second half. They were going to come on a lot stronger. That's exactly what happened. But yeah, two major incidents, or kind of the two goals within 4 minutes. And then obviously Nicholas Jackson being sent off, within 4 minutes of coming on?
Yep.
I mean, you just can't do that. And if he wants to be the main guy up front, of course he does, but how can you be if you can't be trusted? I like him. He's big, he's strong. He can run the channels, he's an athlete. He can score goals despite him not being clinical enough. But if you can't trust him, then Liam Delap has to be the number one striker for Chelsea Football Club. But hopefully he'll learn from that. He should have learned from getting sent off at St James's Park. And when you come from 1-0 up to 2-1 down, you've got to have 11 men on the pitch if you're going to get anything out of the game. And do you know what? Flamengo deserved it.
Well, the manner of the goals conceded for Chelsea will be of great concern. The indiscipline of Nicholas Jackson will be of great concern too. It was a messy second half in just about every aspect from Chelsea. And in the end, Scott, they left it far too late to try and get back into it.
Yeah, ironically enough, they didn't play too bad, and certainly territory-wise, they were in Flamengo's half for a lot of the game after the sending off, but it was really more because Flamengo were just making themselves sitting back, difficult to beat, try and break us down then. You've got the 10 men, we've got the 11. The last sort of 10 minutes when Nona Madueke came on made a bit of a difference, adding that bit of pace out wide, but no, all in all, it was a really disappointing day.
It will be fascinating to see, won't it, Scott, who Enzo Maresca goes with in that final game, what looks like being a must-win game against ES Tunis.
I think it's one of those where he still will, almost a bit like the Europa Conference League final. You know, you've got Reece James on the bench, you've got Levi Colwill on the bench. I still think he'll look at it in a way that, we need to pick a team that's strong, but this will still be strong enough to beat Tunis. Look, if they don't beat Tunis and get knocked out, then he knows he's going to get a lot of criticism, despite what's happened, finishing 4th in the league and also winning the Europa Conference League. You know, I don't think Chelsea fans are expecting the club to go and win the competition, but I think they want to see them go deep into the competition and the knockout stage. And if they don't, then he will definitely get the criticism, and it will be deserved. But I personally believe Chelsea will go on and beat Tunis. It's the question now, what happens in the knockout stages.
Okay, Scott, let's pick our man of the match now, all thanks to DAZN.
Man of the Match on Talksport 2, presented by DAZN. Sign up now at DAZN.com to watch every game live and for free.
Well, you would have to say, Scott, slim pickings from a Chelsea point of view. It's got to be someone on the Brazilian side's lineup, right?
Can I pick a Brazilian? No, it doesn't have to be a Chelsea player.
It doesn't have to be a Chelsea player by any means. You could, or maybe you can have two: a Chelsea man of the match and an overall man of the match.
I'll be honest with you, with the Chelsea one, I was going to say it was the most difficult one to choose. I thought Marco Correa was solid enough. Pedro Neto obviously scored another goal. Moises Caicedo was his usual self. But no, if you're looking at the who was man of the match in that whole game, do you know what I'm going to give it to? I'm going to give it to Bruno Henrique, and he didn't even start the game. But he came on, he scored, he made the assist, and that was the defining moment of the game. So I'm going to give it to him.
Okay, Scott, thank you. That was our man of the match with DAZN. Watch every game of the FIFA Club World Cup live and for free on DAZN. Sign up at DAZN.com.
Man of the Match on Talksport 2, presented by DAZN. Sign up now at DAZN.com to watch every game live and for free.
Scott, thank you very much indeed for your company as always. Scott Minto, former Chelsea defender who will be across quite a lot of our Club World Cup coverage still to come. Chelsea's final group game is next Wednesday, early hours of the morning, 2 a.m. against Tunis. It's a big one. You can listen to it over on Talksport. Before that, Monday morning at 2, Manchester City against Al Ain at the Club World Cup, again live and exclusive over on Talksport. Tomorrow, our coverage of the Under-21 Euros continues. England against Spain in the quarters, and that again is live on Talksport. Make sure you download the app to be across everything. Botafogo winners over PSG at the Club World Cup earlier. Benfica 5-0 up in that heavily delayed game against the amateurs Auckland City. LA against Tunis to come. But Chelsea shocked and with work to do at the Club World Cup. The 10 men beaten by Flamengo by 3-1. Thanks for joining us as ever. Next up on Talksport 2, we'll bring you live PGA Tour golf.